Okay.
It's recording.
This is to your first inaugural episode.
Thank you.
Salud.
All right.
White wine and a coffee.
White wine. We are high class.
I would imagine there's other people drinking wine. What is it, 2?
You don't need to mention the time, Chris. Is 10 a.m. too early? I don't think so. So welcome everybody. This is the first podcast of Between You and I, the Bad Grammar podcast. I am welcoming the Friel Brothers, Chris and Rick.
Hello.
Who I couldn't wait to talk to. I cornered them at our Rockfords practice and was all excited about this podcast and cornered them into doing it, although it wasn't really that difficult.
No.
It did not take a lot of convincing.
Where else are we going to go? It's a practice room.
I know, right?
There's so
and
much room.
If folks could see how tiny this room is, they'd say, "Ooh, I want to go there. That's really cozy. I want to talk too."
On Capitol Hill, this would be $1,500.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, I have
This
my
is like
kitchen.
an apartment.
Yeah, my toilet, my bed, and my kitchen is all right here in case anybody needs anything.
Or as our dad would say, you have to go outside to change your mind.
That's right. You will have to do that.
Ba-dum,
Bravo.
Meister Hunchback.
Yes. So I've been wanting to do a podcast for a long time and have been told several times, like, hey, you should do a podcast or radio or something. And so it's been brewing in my mind for a long time, and I'm a big fan of other podcasts that are similar in terms of being conversation pieces or just kind of, good conversations like the Nerdist or Marc Maron and other things like that. So
there's lots of good podcasts out there.
Yeah.
There's the TV Water Cooler podcast, and there's lots of good TV ones and movie ones. Awards Daily has a movie one, and then Chris and I are big Kiss fans. There's lots of Kiss podcasts, and then
but don't get started on that, all right?
Yeah,
not yet.
Yeah,
Not yet. We're just at the start, Rick Friel.
She will not let us talk
I'm just
about
saying
Kiss
that
yet.
I've really gotten into listening to podcasts. I drive for a living, so it's kind of fun to have those on. And Eddie Trunk does a music one, and there's just so many. And Chris just found a new sports one that he likes.
Yeah, I for me, like the Marin one. I mean, I actually feel kind of bummed that it took this long to find it because sometimes I'll just be having kind of a shit day, and I will listen to his interviews with these people that are maybe not people that I'm fans of, and it can be totally inspiring and enlightening. The way that these people talk about creativity and just their journeys and even just the most mundane things of growing up and their relationships with parents and stuff like that. It's really great, and I think there's a real art to the way of doing it. Not to put too much pressure on you.
No, I'm going to speak correctly the whole time. But that's the same reason I got excited because it's the conversation, it's the communing, which has been a big word for me this year, and it's natural. So, and I've listened to some of those too, and you come off going, "Oh, I really needed to hear that conversation," or "Oh, somebody else feels the same way," especially around creativity. "Oh, they were afraid as well." Things that you say in your head, but you don't often go into a group and say, "Is anybody else scared here too?"
Yeah.
So it's just nice to hear, and you're right. There's plenty of it out there.
I wasn't a huge fan of Lena Dunham, the girls writer, and her interview was just so great. And same with I can't think of her name right now, the woman that wrote Juno. These people that I wasn't really familiar with.
Right.
They're just they're great people. Like when you listen to them talk about their life and their the way they feel about creating and things like that. It makes you kind of realize we're all sort of doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I've gotten really into the Nerdist. I'd also like to introduce, as I interrupt here, Ryan Lane is my awesome partner in the podcast. And he is silently sitting next. Yeah.
The silent partner.
You are the silent foil.
Not right now.
Go on now.
Once we get rolling on a few of these, I just have a feeling Ryan out of nowhere is going to say something, be like, "What?"
Sidekick.
It could happen.
I'm hoping for that. Yeah. But I was saying to him that I've really gotten into listening to comedians, not necessarily their acts, but like the Nerdist is actors and comedians and things like that. And so that's who they're, for a large part, having conversations with. And there's something really interesting about another art form like that, what it takes to do that art form, but also the things that they go through. They talk about, I know Jerry Seinfeld had one too, where you're literally, to learn your craft, you're going up to win or die. That's your practicing. It's like to get up on stage and you're either winning or you're dying, and that's how you learn. And I'm like, that is rough.
Well, comedy is, Rick and I are, grew up in a house where the records we listened to were comedy records.
Yeah.
Did you?
Don Rickles and Bill Cosby and all that.
Carlin.
Yeah. And what was the guy, the two guys together?
Cousin and Laundry.
Oh man, we would play that so much. But for me, comedy is so brave because it's just you, and you're so dependent on the audience laughing. Whereas like if you're in your band, even if you're playing solo, you're sort of hidden by volume, or especially me playing as a drummer, you know. And you've also got, you know, whether it's a band with 2 to 3 to 5 to 6 people, you've got all those people you depend on. Because, you know, you may not be winning the crowd, but at least you're playing. I always, you know, I've gone and seen comedy where people are just bombing.
Brutal.
And it's just brutal. You know,
Yeah,
I saw one guy one time where he started out like as a carrot top kind of guy using all these props, and nobody was laughing, and then he kind of put on like this clown wig, and you could just see his eyes were kind of watering, and then he just lost all the props and tried to just become just a straight stand-up. Like,
yeah.
And he never, it was horrible. And it was like,
so
you could just see him kind of going, as soon as I leave this stage, I'm going to start crying.
Yeah.
And it was awful.
There's a couple interviews that they've had folks on the Nerdist where they talk about that too, where they're just slogging it. They keep going. Like, I've got my time slotted, and they keep slugging it out through the whole routine. And I'm like, hats off to you. That's amazing to me.
Well, that's how you learn. I mean, Rick could probably speak to this a little more because we're both friends with this guy, Craig
Gass and Jason Stewart. I know 2 comedians.
And I just think it's just night after night.
And you're gone. You have to be on the road.
Yeah.
That's the only way you learn is by time.
Okay, this is a weird segue, but I realize I haven't really introduced, for those who don't know who you are, the Friel Brothers are actual Seattleites, which is something that...
Yeah, I was born and raised here. I'm one of the few natives that I know. Most natives don't stay here.
You're like a leprechaun. That's what I say. When you find somebody actually from Seattle, it's like, ooh, lucky me.
He has it on me. I was born in Denver.
Were you really?
Yes.
Yeah, and then we
Get out of here.
We moved to Seattle about 2
I think we were in Denver for about 3 weeks, and part of it was the birth.
Yeah.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, I have played music with both of you. You guys have played music since you were... What was the youngest you started?
Well, we did probably 9.
Right? 9 years old.
We did Jingle Bells. Well, actually, was Jingle Bells first, or when we did Dreamboat Annie and with the...
Well, there was a thing... Yeah, it depends if we're actually playing music. We would pretend
You're playing. You're being creative.
We did little shows. We'd do concerts up at our cabin.
We'd lip sync.
Did you really?
Yeah. And I made guitar out of driftwood and wrote Gibson on it.
And we would
Chris had drums made out of boxes.
And we would make like costumes. Like we would wear towels. Like that was like our costumes.
How old were you?
Oh, that was probably
we were little.
7. 6,
But already. Like, that's amazing.
We
kind
of knew the excitement.
Even before we had it.
Like we made a stage, like up at the cabin. We
Is
made
that from your parents at all? Like, was your dad musical? I mean, he obviously was really charismatic and
I think
talented.
A little that he was. You know, he did play drums. He played a drum, but it was more like he was involved in
show business.
Okay. Well,
but I also think it's the time that we grew up, the late 60s, 70s. There was so much excitement about
music,
music and entertainment.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, especially around here.
I think having love and support from your parents, though, is like a cushion, so you know you can't fail. So you can get up on stage and your family will watch you lip sync to records.
Right.
Or we set up a little driftwood stage on the beach, and we wore our grandma's house coats, and we did Dreamboat Annie and Firehouse like this, and just sang it with fake guitars, and they clapped. And so knowing that you have that support is probably how you could get up and do it. You have the gumption to do it.
But the beginnings of actually playing music, I mean, it all ties into this incredible thing that we have with a lot of the friends that we still play music
and
with.
And you have knowing Carrie. That's how it all connects.
Yeah, actually, is.
Well, I think everything's connected, but I'm sorry.
Is that the first thing was, you know, I started playing snare drum. Rick started playing trombone only because they said if you play trombone for a while, we'll get you a guitar.
Yes,
like that.
My mom said learn a classical instrument, and nobody cool played a classical instrument, so I just looked at the Tijuana Brass album. I'm like, okay, I'll play something.
I love that it was Tijuana Brass.
So I think that's the Jingle Bells thing.
But the thing was that I basically pretended to learn the thing. I just learned it by ear. I never actually read music.
Wow.
And then when we did recitals, we did Madrona middle school. We did recitals. I would wear Kiss makeup on stage. Everybody else is wearing fancy clothes, and I wear Kiss makeup. So like the audience feels like I'm a rock and roller. I'm just doing this so I can get rock and roll guitar. So I'm the only person on stage like Paul Stanley makeup and lips.
Does somebody have a picture of that?
I don't know.
Oh, I want one so
the thing
bad.
was that nobody batted an eye. Nobody thought it was weird that everybody else was normal and I'm in Kiss makeup.
I love that though. I think that your family really instantly applauded, like,
They're like,
you're
"That's
being
fine."
creative. But I love it.
Nobody thought it was weird.
Hey, my family would have been like, "What are you doing?" And then probably just teased me to death. You know what I mean? It would have been, and so I would have shut down a lot long ago. It would have been like, "Yeah, okay, I'm
Yeah, I think a lot of parents are like,
again."
you gotta stay in your room until you get
Like,
that
you're
shit
crazy.
off.
I think I just wanted
How's
this to be such a part of my identity. Like I'm so wanted to be a musician so badly that I wanted this even before I owned an instrument.
Right.
It was like part of my identity. Like this is me.
Yeah.
And I'm still going through that today. Like I just.
Oh, yeah.
I want everyone to know that that's what I do. You know.
Because that's what's funny is when Rick met, Danny Newcomb and Mike McCready and Rob Webber, all these guys that are part of our life, they met on the school bus, and Danny and I started playing right away because Rick told Danny about me. But the funny thing was, Rick wasn't playing with us, but he was like, it was already assumed,
in the room.
He was in the group.
You
know what I
already
mean?
thought
He was
Without an instrument. No,
he had
I
an
was.
instrument, but he was in the band. You know what
I
I'm
was
saying?
hanging out.
When you need the bass player, you do not ask anybody else.
I was hung out.
That's right.
And that's what's funny is he had got a guitar and
I
he
did.
took the two strings off and made it a bass. So he was kind of ahead of the curve on
You've never not been
presence.
like that. I mean, I don't see.
I just wanted to be
I
in
don't
there.
see that your personality has wavered one bit, which
just wanted
I think
to
is
be in
great.
I just
Yeah.
want to be part of it. You
And he
know?
was.
Yeah.
That's the great thing.
Yeah. So going back, was Shadow your first band? And so Shadow also.
No.
No?
First band was called Warrior.
Well, we gotta go back to
Okay.
Star.
Yeah.
STAR.
Oh, Star was the first thing we did where we didn't really. We were pretending to play music.
Yeah.
But we had a band called Star.
It was elusive.
It was the two of us.
Nice.
And I called myself Star Fraley.
Did you
That was
really?
my stage.
I love it.
And
And I had a hat made that
Hats
said
made,
that.
yeah.
But the fact that you're doing it at all, then I'm sorry, hats off. I think that's
And
great.
then sometimes Chris and I would just do it by ourselves at our parents' house, and then we go down to the guest room and we trash the guest room. Afterwards, like, what a great
Because
show.
that's what you
And
do.
we thought that's what rock stars did, so we go trash our parents' guest room.
Because that's what you
Like,
do,
yeah,
man.
what great, woo! You know, the towel off and
Yeah, we made, like you said, we had these hats, man. He had the one that said
Star.
and I just had one that was just Star, like baseball hats. You know when you could make transfers or like,
Yeah.
make,
Yeah.
your own stuff.
So we had merch.
Yeah. You had merch already.
Yeah, we were
This
ready.
is so vastly different from my growing up. That's why I love it.
It's
Like, I wish I'd been there.
76,
Yeah.
Yeah.
76,
Yes.
yeah.
What was I doing then?
Yes.
I think I was just trying to look cute.
And then
or something.
we met Danny Newcomb and
Danny was the first guy I met who could actually play an instrument.
Okay, yeah.
Like what I wanted
Right.
to do so badly. And
Right.
so then we became fast friends right away. And so I invited him to come spend the night, and he brought us a little guitar over. He had an Imitation SG and a little teeny Fender amp. And he sat down and played Firehouse by Kiss, and Chris and I went,
because
our jaws just dropped.
That's the thing that was amazing about Danny is that, he could play so well already. It's like the people throw around that term, that child prodigy.
Oh, really? Yeah.
He was truly that guy, and he
Yeah.
was so good
He
already.
was so good instantly.
That it sort of lifted, and I think it also sort of inspired our chances of doing.
We could do this.
We could do this pretty good because
Yeah.
this guy's really, really good, And so the two of us just started playing, and the other thing that was funny about us is, we did play a couple of Kiss songs, but we immediately, he already had some songs,
He had stuff written.
he'd written a couple tunes.
The first time
really?
that Chris and
Yeah.
Danny ever played together, they had it on a Memorex cassette.
Yeah, we still have it.
And he wrote a song called War of the Gods. It was like it was an original.
Heavy.
Well, then we also had Reputation, did
Reputation, yeah. So this guy that we just met is already writing songs at like 10 or 11.
He had like 2 tunes already.
Written.
We should have Danny in here.
Yeah,
ready to go.
I'm leading towards the Shadow podcast that is to come.
Yes.
So.
And so that was inspiring. And Danny also was the first guy I knew to make a flyer. So he made a flyer of Warrior. He cut out pictures of us and he put them up all over Windermere and Laurelhurst. And I didn't realize you could actually make flyers of your bands. Even though we weren't really playing yet, he made flyers and put them up everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't
himself.
really for anything. It was just sort of like,
Just
it was our pictures with our names.
And then he also made one that said Warrior Rocks. And he would just basically walk around the neighborhoods and put them up on poles. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And he did it.
That's amazing that he thought of that. See, that will be really interesting to have him in as well, just to talk about the things that you think are okay to do as a kid, or that he thought of it. You
just have that freedom of thought.
And the other thing that's
Yeah.
so funny about this story is that, in this picture at this time was Mike McCready the whole time.
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
but it was sort of like Danny was not that into letting him in.
Danny didn't want him in the band. I really wanted him right away.
I'm not saying that, but it was like,
no,
I'm going to go on record.
He was kind of elusively floating in this circle, because he was playing guitar too, but I think he was still kind of learning, and we knew him too, but then all of a sudden, Danny was like, and I can't remember if it was you or Danny now, but somebody said, here's our guitar player, Brad McQueen. We had another guy.
He brought another guy named Brad.
Okay.
And we were all kind of like, what?
He brought him.
What up with Mike?
But he had an Ace Frehley shirt on, so he was okay.
Yeah.
Where's that guy now?
He left to become a baseball player.
He eventually, he actually quit.
He quit to become, he said, I want to be a professional baseball player.
That's crazy.
Which is the greatest moment in Mike's
And I was so excited. I was like, because I wanted Mike in the whole time.
Best moment for Mike
I was
ever.
like, yes. I go, that means Mike's in the band. Danny's like, hey, okay.
Yeah, really.
Because Mike was so funny, like right away, because Mike was just hilarious.
And fun.
Yeah, and fun to be around, where Danny's not really fun. He's a little more serious.
He's serious, yeah.
About everything, music and everything, which was great. But Chris and I love humor, and Mike was this new friend that we met who's just hilarious.
Well, you just a firecracker too. I mean, he would just come in and he's hyper, and he was so loud.
He's like ready to go.
Guitar was so loud, like everything was just loud. We were loud, and it's just like it was so perfect.
Oh my god! Okay, I have two good stories about I didn't know who Mike McCready was, and I think goodness had gone down to LA, and maybe it was Danny and I'm not sure if you were there, Chris. We had gone to Rob's house, and he had some old footage of you guys on a ferry.
Yes.
Yeah,
and there was some guy with braces and whatever, and he's just hyperactive, all over it. I'm like, who the hell is that? Yeah. And he's like, oh, that's Mike McCready. And I was like, what?
Yeah, he was super hyper. Always was.
Really hyper and in your face and funny and making fun of everything. That's the thing that Chris and Mike and I would literally make fun of everything. Everybody was fair game, including members of our own band.
Right.
But he was the one that would drop his pants.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but you guys can still see that to this day. When we were having practice for the Rockfords, you and Mike together is one show.
Absolutely.
Right? And then you can see Mike and Danny talk like they're two guitar gods, trying to lighten up, it's all good, but it's not joking around, there's a lot of love there, but you guys, it's instant mayhem. The word weenus comes out, or dick jokes or whatever, and you're like, oh god, okay, and then Mike keeps looking at me like, sorry, apologizing, because it's like
you're the mother hen.
Well, even now, it's so funny when my wife Kim and I will go out to dinner with Mike and his wife, and we'll sit down, and it'll take so long for him. He just won't even look at the menu because he's just riffing and what's up with this and Kiss, and he'll talk about you and all of our friends. He's got to get caught up in everything, and we'll just be laughing our ass off. And finally, one of us goes, "Look at the fucking menu."
I need to eat.
Will you two idiots stop talking about Paul Stanley so we can order?
Ashley and Kim, what do you say about Kiss? Oh,
Kiss. Oh well, I remember I will have those ladies in too, because I remember the last one. I felt like that was a bold call for me to go, can we talk about Bjork?
Well, the first Rockford show, we had to move the day because Kiss was playing at the Gorge.
Yes,
So Chris and I we can't do it that night.
Oh no.
We had to do on a Thursday or something. And everyone's like, why is the show Thursday? Because Kiss is playing.
This is what I do. One of the many things I love about you guys is that I've always said one of my only favorite things on touring, and touring's not my favorite. Some people love it. I go to bed early. I like to read books. I take a bath. I don't stay up for the crazy.
All-nighters.
Yeah. One, because for a woman, it's not really that much fun, in the end.
Fia's all right.
Fia's killer even keel.
Fia's up for the all-nighter.
She just knows how to do it, though. She's a silent observer and crazy, and then later she'll snicker that was great.
Which is funny because...
Witty observations.
It's funny that you say that, because I think, in my opinion, I always thought you were good at it.
Being crazy?
No, at touring.
Oh.
And I think, and over the years,
she was smart.
Over the years, I've used you kind of as a reference of somebody because you were the front person with Goodness and the singer, and we would have those crazy tours where we'd have to play 9 nights in a row.
Yeah.
And yes, you kind of missed out on drinking 100 Heinekens all night long, but you were smart to go to bed and to keep your voice strong, because if you would have crapped out, we would have been less high and dry. And that did happen. I remember being out with Candlebox, Kevin Martin's voice. He blew his voice out.
Yeah.
Well, he said to me, the tour that we did with them, we went 2 months, right?
We did 2 separate tours.
Yeah.
Well, there was a 2-month long one, and he said to me, he goes, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you... how do you not lose your voice? And I said, well, I have before. When I was in Hammerbox, I lost my voice, and never again. I was like... I don't. Remember, I was doing that crazy elimination diet too, so it was like no dairy, no...
Yeah, you were drinking those shakes.
Those crazy things in the van.
So there's nothing to kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, it was either you with the shakes or Rick trying to be a vegetarian on tour.
Yes.
That was tough, yeah.
Did you have another salad at Denny's?
We can only get, like, Taco Time got to be my favorite because I can have beans.
Rice
and
and
like,
beans,
there you go. That's awesome.
Yeah. You get a lot of Mexican
It's true. I mean, not that, I have years and years of experience with touring, but there's a real art with it to do it and to, number one, enjoy it, and two, to stay mentally and physically sort of healthy. I think because it's such a weird...
And number three, don't talk so much.
Yeah.
Stop you talking.
Yeah.
It's
Stop
such a weird cocoon that you're sort of living in. And it's so much about... Everything you're doing is about getting to do that 45 minutes or 2 hours on stage, whatever it is.
That's all.
Your whole life is about those moments on stage, one, sort of playing great with your band, and then two, you really are advertising.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, please,
you're working.
Please buy our record, because you're no longer in your hometown
Right.
where everybody knows you and claps for you and stuff, and they're all your friends. So you really are like playing for strangers and trying to sort of win them over. And I always felt like, we didn't always win, but I felt like we always did a great job. And
I thought we worked hard.
Kudos to you, because you had the hardest job of us all, really.
Well, remember when we did that tour, it was work. And you're right, because the sitting around gets really hard. But you remember we would play, it was like, okay, not fronting's hard,
Yeah.
If they don't, especially on that tour, because there was a couple times where there was a lot of misogyny and a lot of like...
Yes.
Hate for women, and it's, a female-fronted band, so you're confronting strange things like that. But then it would be like, we had a system, remember? It was like, we'd play the show, do your best, and then bam, I would head to merch. We didn't have a merch person, so it was like, my night was play the show, go sell shit, and then go to bed. Danny and I have talked about this. We're just similar in that, like, I don't hang out as much because I get bored, like I can only get drunk so many times without, one, getting sick or hurting myself, but also like for a female, it's like, who am I talking to that's so interesting, like it just wasn't that, and I really love, like I love a hot bath and I want to read a book, because also most everyone I'm talking to, forgive me, are drunk and loaded, and it's kind of dumb and boring. And so I'm like, has anybody read a book? Like echo. But I will say, so what I was getting to is, one of my all-time favorite things is listening to you two recount the night. Like, I would pay money to listen to you two talk about it. If I could pull the van over and be like, no, tell me again, what happened? Like, it was such a better experience than actually being there.
Absolutely, and
that.
that's true. You are kind of front row. It's a little bit of a freak show out there of some of the things you deal with and the people that
as
you
a
have
woman,
to deal with.
it's just different, like... So, I have always said, someone has said, like, oh, is it rough being a female fronting a band? Like, have you been... and I said, I can count on one hand, really, how many times I've been, like, treated poorly.
Yeah.
I mean, not very often.
Yeah.
So, I also don't really think gender. Like, I've never thought of myself as, like, I am a woman first, and what is going on? I just don't think that way.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm a singer, this is what I'm doing, I want to get this done. I don't think about that.
Yeah, I can only really remember a couple of times where it was pretty bad. But I also think it's kind of a testament to our group and our confidence when we were playing that with goodness. I think we knew we were a pretty great band, and we weren't up there sort of shy about it. I think we were very confident with what we were doing, so I think the audience connected to that,
Well, that worst show was Deep Ellum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the worst show in
Dallas.
Texas. Yeah, with opening for Candlebox, who treated us so well.
Yeah, and that's one thing I will give Kevin a shout out. I will never forget that show. That was a rugged one where people
They're throwing beer cans,
spitting and throwing things, and I always remember him coming on stage and sort of pointing out who those two guys were, and he kind of threw them out, because they were just so
horrible.
Oh, they were screaming awful things at me, like just take your clothes off or show us your tits, and calling me the C word. And I remember Garth and I, your adrenaline's running. I have enough tomboy in me where, like, we're going to the edge of the stage, like, I'm gonna kill you, like, what? I'm literally wearing a black slip, like, I'm gonna fuck you up, like, what was I gonna do? But it was also baffling to look at three people and say, I don't understand where this apparent hate.
Yes.
Like, you're at a show and you're drunk having a good time. Like, really?
But that goes on all
like,
the time, though. The internet's opened up a whole world of people who hate women.
On that tour, I realized that in certain sectors of men, they do not know what to do with a powerful, talented woman on stage who's in a control spot.
Yes.
I'm usually in the male spot where y'all broing down, and I'm like, no, I'm the one leading this ship here. Perceptive, if you're on
But
stage.
I also remember what was funny about it. That was the era of when I think Epic was giving us those sound scan reports, and that I remember from that show, like, even though that show was so wonky and horrible to deal with, I remember like we actually sold like a good amount of records like a couple days later.
Oh, really?
Which was really funny. Like, all these people going, yeah, I hate these guys too. But what are they called?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they're really terrible. Is it goodness? Right?
Yeah, I feel bad. I'm gonna go buy your record now.
Kevin said they're okay.
Yeah. But again, I gotta say, that I give it up for Candlebox. They were such a great band to tour with, and they treated us so well and gave us a good tours.
They did.
To go with them,
they really took care of
they're
us.
Just great people to.
And Kevin's still a nice guy.
Yeah, Kevin's amazing.
He put Danny on a show last year or 2 years ago with the Moore when I asked him, can we open for you guys? He said, no problem. And we still text and stuff. He's still a great guy.
Yeah.
He looks a little like the Big Lebowski now.
That's what you guys said. I haven't seen him in a while. I'm trying to imagine that.
He's taken on a whole different look.
Well, he's such a handsome guy. He's really handsome, tall.
He looks good like that too, but it's a whole different look.
Which is funny because I've had some people say, man, your brother kind of looks like the dude now. And I was like, yeah, I guess.
That's not a bad thing. If you're bearded, I guess you look like the dude.
Well, I've kind of gotten the Bridges thing over the years. Like, you look like one of those Bridges brothers. I'm like, well, what?
Like Bo Bridges?
Yeah.
Don't say eyebrows, guys.
What about Lloyd Bridges?
Which Bridges?
Which Bridges?
Yeah, you got to be pretty clear on
that. You're gonna have
Nash
to clarify.
Bridges.
Clarify, please.
Well, Friday night I played a show and this really hammered girl. I was trying to get my drums and she grabs by the arm. She goes, "Hey, man, say you look like Dana Carvey."
Dana Carvey.
And I said, "Well,
wow.
Yes, well, I have.
I've never heard that one.
Really?
Yeah, I get the
I've never heard
Dana
that.
Carvey. Now I'm going to stare at you for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dana.
Well, one time I was in a cab and there was a guy who was like, "You look just like Kurt Cobain." And I was like, "Who?" And he goes, "You look like Kurt Cobain." And I was like, "Huh?"
Bing.
And he goes, "Kurt Cobain." And I was like, "Kurt Cobain? We're reaching now." He's also the same cab driver. This is a great story. We're driving. I really had to get somewhere, and he pulls off. We're downtown. And he goes, "Do you mind?" And I go, "What?" And he goes, "I gotta go to the bathroom." "Do you mind?" And I was like, "Yeah, I kind of do fucking mind. That's why I'm in a cab."
Right. I gotta go.
I gotta get somewhere. And
easy.
And he just randomly ran in some hotel and took a leak. And I get back and he goes, "Very sorry. Bad for your kidney."
It's so true.
And I go,
so
"What?"
True.
He goes, "If you hold pee, bad for kidney."
Like, it's bad for my wallet. How much is this
bad for my... I'm gonna be late somewhere now.
You should turn the meter off.
Okay, I kind of wanted to talk about this too. In my head, I started thinking about personalities, and you guys are so vastly different in personality. But together, obviously, you're at ease or whatever. But you're very Virgo. You're very like, I've got things in order.
Yes.
You're more freeform, Rick. You're very much intuitive. Like, I don't know, I'm trying this, but this is, and you're very intense on creatively being who you are, right?
I'm all about that. Yeah.
But so I'm sure maybe you guys don't see that, but you're a lot like storytelling and like extroverted.
Well, Chris
and
is
you're
a great
very
storyteller. You just told you the story about the cat.
No, but you're gregarious.
Yes,
I find Chris.
Sure.
I find you very steady Eddie. You know what I mean? Like you're funny.
I have
sure.
to. It's funny you say that. I think at times I have to kind of like fight my Virgo-ness because it can be a little bit of a prison at times. But no, it's true. And I also
that's what I want to say to you. Leave it.
It's a great thing for me now at this age. It's a great thing to hear people say that because I think we grew up so long where people are like, "Are you twins? You're exactly alike." And I don't think we ever really were alike, but I think that.
But we were just.
I think the public face is sort of like Friel Brothers are kind of like the same people.
Right.
And I think that it's. I think actually now it's like I embrace it when people say, "Oh my God, your brother's just like this," and
get to know you better.
It's actually kind of a great thing, but it is true. I think we've always been very, very different, and probably more so now as that we're older dudes.
I think we were more similar when we were kids, and then when we kind of stopped playing in Shadow kind of came to an end. We moved back from Hollywood, and then you kind of went off and started playing with other bands.
Yeah, that's true.
Kristen Berry, for one, and other things. And we still play together, but I think Chris kind of broke off from the two of us to start playing with other people, and that's when I kind of felt like you developed your own personality as far as really becoming a different, unique person.
Yeah.
Where it was evident because he started actually playing with somebody else. Up until then, we just played together and everything.
And you kind of need to do that.
And there was no notion of playing any other band except for Shadow. But then once he broke off and did that, and then we discovered that everybody in Seattle's in like 3 or 4 bands at once, and then we kind of started branching off and playing together, but also in other bands. And I think
that's true. I mean, there is sort of that thing where I think when we were growing up, there was never really a thought of being in a bunch of bands.
No,
right.
And
Shadow
and there is some of that like I kind of miss. I mean, there is that time when I was literally just in goodness with you, and it was sort of like it's like 5 people fighting for this thing, and it was. I mean, in some ways, it was kind of easier, but it was also heartbreaking.
Oh yeah, hard.
In a way, because it's like 5 people with their company, and it's like you're all trying to do this thing, and I think there's also now being that the 2 of us play in so many different projects, we have some together and some apart, but that you get the fun of all of those and some of the joy, but at the time, at times it can be very scatterbrained.
Right.
Yes.
Trying to do them all and trying to put, your passion into all of them,
Because both of you do a lot of projects. Like, don't between the 2 of you have at least 3 going at one time?
I think now, I've got like 6 or 7 that I do, but for me, what makes them kind of jive is that a lot of them are some of the same people, so in a way I sort of consider what I do it's sort of like a collective. It's it's a lot of the same people, you just move some of the pieces apart. So it actually helps with scheduling, right? Because a lot of those people are in the same thing, so it's not like you're saying, hey, we got to go play and wherever, can you do this? It would be harder if every single band was different, because that's the other thing that is so different. I mean, we're kind of hopping around topics, but it's so different trying to play music in your 40s versus when we were kids or when you're 20. It's so much harder to schedule now with people who have kids and serious businesses and just different passions and
energy level
and just energy and it's sort of like you have to be understanding of the fact of like the thing is I'd really rather do this on a Tuesday night than go do this, or I can't make it to rehearsal. Kids got soccer and all that stuff. And where in the old days it's sort of like we got practice in an hour. You're gonna be there, of course.
That's what you're doing.
About Chris and I is that from the moment we met Danny, we started practicing. And so we practice all the time, and then once we got Mike in the band, we practiced more, and then we got our singer Rob Weber in the band, and we literally practiced 5 days a week.
This week,
Oh, really?
Every week without fail, and even if Rob wouldn't show up, we'd still practice. So we developed a stamina, we developed an energy and enthusiasm that most people I meet don't have.
Right.
But that comes from being little kids and learning how to develop stamina and energy and ability to just keep going. And so that's,
and also
that's
just
where
becoming
it comes from.
Better musicians. But we kind of were joking around about Mike, but I feel like from all of us, like he came in and he was just sort of playing guitar, but I think that like we were saying with Danny, and he was already amazing, but we all played so much that it was like that thing, that 10,000 hours thing you talked about. I mean, we really put in the time, and again, it gets back to having supportive parents. I mean, the only time they would get mad is if we weren't rehearsing.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like they were just like, you're not working on your craft, because it's sort of like, if you're not going to go do this, if you're not going to really focus on trying to do this, or if you're not going to be on a sports team or something like this, you at least got to put in the time. And that's what we did. Well, I mean, that was the thing. We would practice 5 days a week without fail.
In the summer, in the way, everything, where everyone else is out swimming or playing or partying, we would be in the practice room.
And this is when you really wouldn't play that many shows. We would probably do 2 or 3 shows a year.
Yeah, in roller rinks.
Wow, all the time. All the time.
Yeah. Just to get better, and we really cared about. Working on arrangements and endings and Danny playing together, and Chris and I locking in together.
And that was the hard change of when we did leave Seattle, we moved to Los Angeles. Is that we
didn't have a parent's house to practice.
We didn't have a house. We didn't have money, so we would.
We didn't know how to manage money.
The times we would rehearse is like right before a show. So you sort of saw the whole thing change and the struggle to sort of like stay focused and sort of stay with your craft.
Yeah, okay.
And also it was sort of a hard transition of, I kind of feel like I really forced the issue of us to move to Hollywood, because I was it kind of went from let's have fun playing music to let's make it. And I know I really had it in my mind, like if we move to Hollywood, we're going to make it with Shadow. I believed in Shadow 100%, even if now it's just 3 of us. Danny quit and Rob had been fired. And so I kind of like said, let's all say Bunny move to Hollywood. I kind of forced the issue of us moving down there. And I think once we got down there, we discovered, number 1, we didn't have a place for practice. Number 2, we didn't have manage money. Number 3, like Mike hated living in LA.
Yeah.
And I think Chris and Mike sort of getting the idea we should move back, and I was definitely separate from saying let's stick it out and try to make it.
And it's a romantic dream too, because LA and like your heroes
Hollywood.
are there. You know, it's a part of a bigger dream.
And I was so happy, you know, kind of getting out of the shadow of my parents and living on our own for the first time and driving around. There's palm trees and
Well, we'd seen
it's exciting.
Our friend, you know, we grew up with Duff McKagan. He'd gone down there, and Rob Weber had moved down there.
Yeah.
We'd seen people go down there and have some success, and you also have to remember this was when Seattle was very, very different. You know, there wasn't all the places to play, there wasn't all the opportunities. I mean, the funny thing is, I mean, the very ironic thing is, like, literally the second we left,
Seattle became,
you know,
huge.
I always have this funny vision in my mind of us driving this way and all this opportunity driving by us away. 5 going, where are you going, fuckers? I got a truckload of clubs and record companies coming this way. Where are you headed? We're going to LA.
Well, this is a funny story is that
That's awful.
Mike and Chris and I were hanging out in my bedroom and you know, people came by our parents' house all the time. It was like the place to be.
know.
And Duff showed up, and I'm not making this up. He literally had a SG behind his back with his little hat on, and he was with Chris Udding, who was this punk rock guy, you know, Chris Crass. And he's like, where's Mike? I want to find Mike. And Mike's like, what's up? He's like, I'm moving to Hollywood. I'm going to go try and make it. And he had his guitar, like, I've told Duff this story. He doesn't believe it's true. He's like, that's a Hollywood story. I'm like, no, it really
I saw it, yeah.
I was there too.
And the 3 of us like, what do you mean you're moving to LA? We just couldn't even process it. And he's like, I'm going to go to LA. I'm going to live in my car. I'm going to try and make it. And
it really was.
And I'm writing this poster of Mick Jagger, and Chris Udding goes, Mick Jagger's a faggot.
No.
Mickey Jagger's a faggot. Roll. I'm like, what?
What?
No, but
This is punk rock guy at our house with Duff.
And it's funny, you know, I've told Duff this story too, and I remember it really was
kind of
something
mind-blowing.
out of a dream, like, because the way Rick had his bedroom, he got the great room.
I got the guest room.
He got
nice.
Rick suddenly got like the killer room. Like, he had this room that was connected the way our garage was, so he could like sneak out the window all the
I've
time.
heard those stories.
Yeah. So we
That's
had
another
this
story.
window that was open, and I'll never forget because you know at this time we didn't see Duff that much.
No.
And then just all of a sudden
He just showed up.
Duff was standing because I wasn't even I could see him from far away. It was like right out of a dream. And he's got, like Rick said, he's got this SG, no case. He's got his cool little hat and little Guns N' Roses.
Yep.
And he's like, I'm going to LA. And we're like, what?
And he wanted to come say goodbye to Mike. It was really important before he was leaving that night. Like I wanted to say goodbye to Mike.
So sure enough, he went, and that he really was one of the inspirations we went down. And when we did go down, one of the first things that we did was he got us into the filming of Welcome to the Jungle video. And you can actually see me. I'm in the video a little bit.
Tim's in the video.
Tim was with us.
Tim DeJulia's the front.
And I mean, you want to talk about like literally just getting hit with an ice bucket. Going to see those guys play and going, yeah, we're going to do that too. Like, it was sort of like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, it was so absolutely incredible. I'd never seen them.
They were so good it was almost scary.
Oh, were they really?
Like you're almost frightened.
Like the first time you ever saw Axl Rose do his thing.
With like crazy hair, and he's kind of pissed and mad.
Doing the snake.
But the Sex Pistols must have been like, you see them, and Slash is kind of imposing, and they're kind of scary. I was kind of scared.
Is Slash tall? Is he like, no?
His hat's
He was
tall.
amazing.
Looks crazy.
But I just remember leaving there kind of going, well, now what are we going to do? You know, it's sort of like, wow.
See, here's the difference of me going, yeah, we're great too, and we're just as good as those guys, and we could totally get signed.
Chris is like, oh,
See, that's the difference between us. Where I was going, we're just as good as those guys.
I felt pretty low.
Absolutely. Our songs are just as good, and we're going to get signed too.
You're very altruistic too. Like because you've got a vision.
Yeah.
Is that the right word, altruistic? Like
I don't know.
see the good in.
Speaking of bad grammar.
I know, right? That's what the show's about.
I mean,
eventually.
That's how we're different.
This thing could turn into hours long, but I mean, I think it really is.
He's going to edit it down to 10 minutes.
It is true that Rick should tell this story that I so get up for Rick. I mean, he went down to LA, I mean, you have to tell the story about when you walked in on the meeting of Guns N' Roses. I mean, Rick was so ballsy. He just walked into like Geffen Records.
Yeah.
You know, like he just...
Did you?
Oh yeah, this is back in '86. I went down with cassettes of Shadow, and I just would go to record companies, and I would just walk in and like, where's the A&R guy? And he's there, and I just sit down at the desk and say, hey, I'm Rick Friel, and da-da-da, and so I had meetings with Atlantic and RCA.
Vicky Hamilton?
Vicky Hamilton. I found out who Guns N' Roses' manager was, and I went to her house.
Yeah.
What'd she say?
She thought we were great. Everybody was really nice. And then I went to Geffen and like, who's in charge here? And I walked into Geffen Records. I found the address and I kicked this door open and there was like a meeting with Guns N' Roses. The guy's like, we need more songs. And I go, hey, Duff, what's up? And they all look at me like, there you go. No, but it was incredible. And Duff said, what's up, dude? And they shut the door really fast. And I was like, who's in charge? And I met with this Tom Zutat, met with him.
I have never heard that story.
No, it was he would call us and say, you know, I went down, I met those people, and so Mike and I were stuck. We were like, wow, this is, this could be
you went down first?
Oh, yeah, by myself. Yeah. And I booked just a show. It was a pay-to-play show.
Of course, yeah.
I thought that's how you did it in LA, and so I got to show at the Roxy, because I'd heard of the Roxy. And
we drove all the way down there, and then, like, the only people at the show were Duff, and our parents and, like, a couple other people.
Wow. And Duff couldn't have told a couple people?
Duff was there. He did. I think he had somebody with him.
Duff was there with Todd Crew from Jet Boy. And we found a place to flop. It was a weird house by the airport that we all slept in, remember?
Oh, man. That's like, isn't that oil fields like right in between there, too? That's such a weird, like...
I was a true believer, and I still am a true believer.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. I mean, I always feel like I totally grew up down there and kind of learned how to do everything. And it was such a... I think we only could have done it because of, like Rick said, the sense of humor that the three of us had and the friendship that we had. I mean, I can't even imagine what it was like for Mike to all of a sudden have to move in with two brothers. I don't think it was...
Oh, right,
I don't think he was quite prepared for that.
Didn't he live at your house for a while?
He did a little bit, but it was different.
My parents put him up there when his parents got divorced.
I think he was having fun, and after a while, I think he started having some of his health problems, and I think he was really seeing this as sort of like was not happening.
And also, he didn't have the support that, and this is well talking, he didn't have the support that Chris and I did. My parents so loving. My parents came down and took us to the supermarket and bought us food and made us sandwiches. And
they would send us like
Pasta and Company care packages.
Like, it was so awesome. Like, we would have no food for weeks, and then we would just get this styrofoam cooler with like super expensive
really
food,
nice,
mac and cheese, and it's like, they were.
Well, I gotta tell you, the first time they ever sent one, they sent us like this lamb Italian thing, and these guys were at work, and I got the package. Like, I'm gonna surprise them and make them dinner. So my mom gave me this thing. It was like in foil with plastic on top. It was this lamb thing. And I put it in the oven. I'm so excited. Oh, I can't wait. And they're gonna get home in like an hour. And I sit at the table. And I was like, God, it smells really weird. Is that what lamb's supposed to smell like? And I opened it up and I forgot to take the plastic off the top.
Oh, no.
And it totally melted in. And I was like, oh. And I called my mom. Yeah. We never really cooked or did laundry or shopped for ourselves.
This is the other story.
We were babies. Our parents did everything for us. We didn't know how to do anything.
So that's why I would say that we kind of figured
we grew up.
Okay, let's
there was a serious laundry problem as soon as we moved down there. We did not.
My mom did all our laundry.
Understand laundry.
I got two questions. How's the laundry now? Because you're both married.
I'm a laundry fanatic.
Okay, good.
To the point where it's almost like I don't know what you call it, a vice. I love doing laundry.
You love doing laundry.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'd like you to come over and talk to Marty. That'd be great.
Yeah, my wife always says you wash, there's just doing the towels too many times. It's always like you could use the towel one more time.
Yeah, Anna's like, why'd you wash my jeans? I just took them off for a second.
Yeah.
I thought they were dirty. So dirty. I just wore them.
Well, it's just funny. Yeah.
And so when you left them in the hallway, they're gone.
But I do have to say, because I'm sure Kim will listen to this, is that I'm good at washing. I'm not the best at folding.
Oh, you're very kind. Yeah.
I love it all.
We'll hear about this.
I have a little radio downstairs. It's on Pixie. I'm happily folding.
It's on
Put
Pixie.
the socks together. Yeah.
I love that.
And so I love doing laundry and dishes too. I love doing both.
Can you come over? You guys, I think what I would like is a Sunday, because I know your Sundays are...
I missed your Sunday.
Spaghetti, 60 minutes.
Yeah. And before that, I get Sunday New York Times, and I have my coffee. It's my favorite.
Is that
thing.
unfailing? You've always done that. You still do that?
I've done that since I can remember, because my parents used to get the Sunday New York Times.
Okay, this is another thing I love about you guys that I don't tend to have, is that you guys are steady Eddie in certain routines, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Which I find comforting just even hearing about.
Yes.
Like I told someone, I live vicariously through you, because I don't read the news. I don't do that.
I love reading
get
it.
too much of the tragedy. I'm too empathetic. I get too sad, and I know that leaves me uninformed.
But if you read it with a hopeful heart, you can get
I
through
struggle with that. But when we were on tour, you guys consume like a lot of periodicals.
Information.
Yes.
When you get the Rolling Stone, you read it cover to cover.
We do. I just read the bingo one.
I will pay for this. Like, it was so much fun to listen to you guys recount. Because I liked it so much better than having to read it. Because I would read it and be like, I'm getting emotionally pissed off.
You're just getting the best.
We were kind of the first podcast, really.
Yeah.
You probably were,
Friel Brothers podcast in the band.
Well, that and like you're joking, like, so I'm gonna go back to like when we all met. So I remember you guys when I was going to the University of Washington on the Ave, right? Which is not really, it's University Way, but it's called the Ave. But I remember the Friel Brothers, hearing about the Friel Brothers and seeing you guys at the coffee shop. What was that coffee shop? Espresso Aroma. Like, there's the Friel Brothers, like very pretty boys. You guys had like the long hair, like all.
That's actually where I met Kim, my wife.
That's right. Kim worked there.
She hired me.
So I remember you guys from that, and I wasn't in bands then. I wasn't in bands then, but I was hanging out on the Ave. You know, you're all young. You kind of all know some people somehow. No, I didn't know who Kim was. But I would go there and have coffee and be like, oh, look at the, interesting, baristas, the pretty boys here, or whatever, whoever they are. And then later, somehow, as I got more into music, did Hammerbox and all that, it's such a small community that when I did Goodness, I got Danny involved, which took forever because Timo wouldn't give me his number, which I think is really funny. Like, as I tried to do this second project, I had like, oh, who am I going to get involved?
He probably said, yeah, I'll get you his number.
Yeah,
totally.
No, and I totally won't, because I want a piece of this, but I'm probably not going to have any time for you. I don't want anyone else to get this, but I'm not going to do anything.
I can see Timo.
Well, Timo's he's genius.
He is.
But he's got his foot in 8 million pies, and so you're like, I love that, but you're squishing my pie. Get out of here. Like, So when
Timo also, though, I gotta say, we have a band called Jody Watts, been together about 18 years, and we did our one show. We only do like one show a year, because Dave Hawkes doesn't want to do more than that. But so I wanted to put my dream show together, so my first thought was Timo. And so I said, Timo, you want to do a show? And I said, yeah, I do. And I said, okay, there's not going to be anybody there, so be no money, but I'd love to have you open the show. I said, yeah, I'll fly in from New York. So he flew in from New York to do the show, and it was a one-man band where he had all the music programmed on a computer, and he had a headset, and he started the show, he brought a chair, he started the show under a blanket.
Yeah.
And he did the whole first song under a blanket, doing crazy movements, and immediately the whole crowd started separating from like the wheat from the chaff, like the daring people who'd never heard of him, to people who loved Timo, to kind of the crazy people who like Jody Watts, who were just disturbed. They were up front, and then everybody else started going to the bar, and Timo did this show that was about like rock and roll and child abuse in New York, and wearing an overcoat and like these glasses and the headset and screaming and yelling and jumping around, and then he ended the show back under the blanket. It was one of the coolest things I've ever
Well, Seattle's
seen.
Not ready for New York modern art.
New York performance art.
He's like New York to the core. Like, And
when I did my top 10 for Easy Street, like I do every year, he was like there in my top show of the year. That was it.
Yeah, I came to the show. I didn't even think I had gotten in the door. I was outside, and somebody goes, "There's a dude in there playing under a blanket." And I go, "What?" The guy's under a blanket.
That's how he started the show, and he was like moving under the blanket.
Yeah, and right away I was thinking,
everybody's going like, "What's going on?" And you could kind of feel people like going, "This is too weird. I'm going to the bar," and then everybody else kind of went closer and closer. Like, "Oh, we need more of this."
Yeah, right away I was thinking like, "Is my brother under a blanket?" I was like, "It's gotta be Rick."
Well, here's what's funny is
so I had to just say that about Timo, that he's just brilliant.
Well, I feel like he's amazing. Like, I'd love to have Tim on a podcast. It'd be like 3-4 hours long.
Oh yeah, easy.
And he'd be playing all of his music like at full volume, going, "Wait, here's another one," and then I'd never get a word in. But I think he's brilliant. But what I think is funny is I started Goodness, and it was the germination of it was with Timo.
Yeah.
Kind of like, here's a side project. We didn't have it obviously wasn't Goodness yet. And I was I'm always looking for somebody new, because Hammerbox was a collection of people who nobody was from here. So I'm always sort of like, oh, well, I want to...
It was like 4 square pegs, basically.
Well, it was like Tennessee, Kentucky, Oregon, and, Eastern Washington State. Like, nobody was like some weird group of people. But when I started, I was sort of like, oh, I want new people. I don't know, some people I don't know. Which works and doesn't work for me sometimes. So... and I also have a tendency to have a lot of faith in people, even when they don't, so that plays out well or not sometimes. But when I was doing this with Tim, I was like, well, I'm looking to put together a band, and he mentioned Danny, but he wouldn't give me his number. And Eric, my brother, was in the band at the time, but he was also in Citizens Utilities, and so we had Eric, Mary Ellen, I think Danny, and I had asked Garth to play, because I was like, I loved Nubbin.
Yeah. They were great. And
I was like, I think you'd be great. And Garth, even in the beginning, was like, well, I don't know, whatever. I'm like, no, it's going to be great. It's like, I have faith in you, And so we all started playing, but then Eric was like, I have 2 bands, I got to pick one. I'm going to go with Citizens. And I was like, okay. And Danny's like, I've got someone who I want to join the band. And I was like, who? And he goes, Chris Friel. And I go,
that big-haired dude?
That dude?
The skinny jeans?
I was like, I think the first thing out of my mouth was like, I am not having a pretty boy in this band. I'm not fucking having...
We're not Guns N' Roses. What is this crap? This is Poison?
Well, because all of a sudden being an outsider, I was leery of like, I'm glad there's a lot of cool people who are from here, but I gotta do my own thing. And I don't want to just plug into everybody who knows everybody. Like, I don't want that automatic.
It's kind of like, wow, come on.
And I did have this stereotype about you guys, like, pretty boys, like, I'm gonna...
Because it's funny, because I remember I came and saw you guys. I think I saw you, it was either once or twice before I started playing with you. But I didn't get a chance to talk to you. I'd talked to you before, but that show that I came to, you guys were playing at Moe's. And I remember this was around the time when I was having my migraines, and he said, come up and see.
He had terrible ones, yeah.
So he said, you gotta come up and see Goodness, check it out. And I'd been meaning to see you guys, and I remember I'm like, walking my way, and also I have to preface it, this time I was listening to a lot of the Eagles. So like my idea of music was like, I had this vibe of like, in my mind.
You thought we were going to be the Eagles?
No, I'm just saying the reaction I had.
Oh.
Like I was really into like that kind of thing at that time in my life. I was like into that, I was like Pete Droge and just Eagles music and just like super songs,
super
kind of
songwriter.
Thing.
Yeah.
So I come in and I think you guys had already started, and like my headache's going like, just getting bigger and bigger. And I remember I watching you guys, and I liked it, like it was good. But I had a fucking headache. And then I remember, I think Alcohol Funny Car came on.
Oh.
And I like all those guys, and they're nice guys, but the migraine was full blast when those guys came on.
My mom
and I was just like, I am just, alternative music is hurting me.
I need to go back to Team Henley.
So I'm out of here. I gotta get back to Team Henley and Glenn Fry. I'm not sticking up for that.
I gotta take it to the limit.
I gotta listen to Take It Easy again.
Listen, I watched the documentary. I have full respect for those guys. There's a lot of...
That's the best documentary ever, because they just admit they don't even like each other.
I love Joe Walsh. But anyway, so...
Me too.
That's a whole other thing. So I remember when Danny called me and said, I want to talk to you about... because first he just said to me, you're going to play on the record. I met him...
This also gets back to Danny, where Danny's like an onion. Like, he doesn't tell you the whole story.
I know.
You gotta peel back information of what's happening. He has it all in his head, but he's not going to tell you everything.
The reason why he said, I think my brother was kind of on the fence. I actually think my brother was like, I want to play on the record.
Yes.
But then I'm leaving. And so...
Well, then the first thing I said to him, he told me that, and I was thinking about seeing you guys, and I was kind of like, well, I was like, I wasn't like, like, fuck, yeah. So I said, well, I don't want to do it, if Eric's still in the group, that's just not a cool thing to do. He's like, no, it's fine. I've talked to Eric about it. And I'm thinking, like, I'm a drummer. There's nothing fine. I know that story.
Drummers are not fine.
My brother is not like...
There's nothing fine around.
No, brothers.
So that's kind of how we left it. And then I remember him contacting me again, and he gave me a cassette of some of the stuff that you guys were working on. It was really, really, really good. So I started getting kind of excited about it. And then I think Danny would have to tell the real story, but I think something happened with Eric where Eric was leaving the group.
Yeah, he decided to go to Citizens, and so we needed to make a decision, and Danny really was an advocate for you and said, like, no, just have him come to the practice. He's a really good drummer, and you're going to, and I was like, okay, I don't know you. I was like, I had a reaction, but I was like, I'm not, I have faith that somebody thinks somebody good. And so here's my thing, is that I did have that reaction of like, like just pretty boy like thing, but
and I also think you had gotten Fia at this point too, because I can't remember if Fia was in the group.
Didn't Mary Ellen like leave Danny like crank calls?
Maybe.
Like, wasn't she crank calling Danny like, I got your bird?
Yes.
That's how she ended up out of the group, right?
Well, the first
So she would get drunk and prank call Danny.
I got your
Danny
bird.
told me these stories.
Yes, I remember that.
She would prank call Danny.
Yeah,
Danny was a apartment manager.
You know, if you don't have a name for your podcast, I got your bird.
I got your bird.
no, I'm gonna segue into I got your mom's head in this here bag.
Yeah,
That was gonna be the name of our Goodness EP.
It was,
okay,
yeah.
we'll get to that.
Yeah, that was good.
But I remember when, the first incarnation of Goodness was sort of this hodgepodge of people, and I think Mary Ellen was freaking people out, and she was friends with all of like the fastbacks,
Kurt
and
Block,
they were all very made fun of her for being in the band.
Of course,
and
yeah.
she
What is
couldn't
this?
handle. I know.
Rock.
They would come and throw things at her, and it was just weird. It was like, okay, you've got to go. Eric wants to go. It's like we had to go iterations.
You're purging.
But my big thing is, my learning lesson was when Chris showed up to play. You got to remember in Hammerbox, Dave drove everyone crazy. So when we would practice, I literally had a pole between him and I, so I didn't have to look at him.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't look at the drummer. I mean, if I could avoid Dave, I would. Bless his heart, and I'm sorry if you're hearing this. But
He won't. It's okay.
he probably won't. But we would avoid him. When Chris came to try out, do you remember this? He was literally like staring at me, and my first reaction was, "What the fuck are you looking at?" Like,
That goes back to the Shadow and Warrior, where we'd all look at each other.
I know, no. He
That was our thing.
What I'm saying is, he schooled
like
me.
it.
No, but it was I knew right away that I was being schooled, and I respected it. I was like, because I was immature. I've never been in bands. I would say throughout our whole conversation, as you guys talk about playing since you were kids, I would sing alone to Barbra Streisand in a room, but never tell anyone that I did that. Like, I was not supported, nor would my family know what the hell to do with that.
That's really, really funny.
A world of difference. But Goodness was my second band ever. And so when Chris got in the room, he's just staring at me the whole time. And I didn't understand why. I was like, why are you fucking looking at me? And I finally asked him, I'm like, what are you looking at? And he goes, I'm waiting for you to tell me what to do. And I was like, oh.
That's how you do it.
And I literally broke the ice. I was like, oh my God, you're a real musician and you care. And I instantly loved Chris Friel.
And
I was
by
like,
the way,
schooled
singers
my ass.
are kind of important.
Well, thank you. Not in the first band I was in,
The singer is sort of in charge in some ways.
Not in the first band I was in.
Most bands, they are. Yeah.
I do remember, funny thing about that rehearsal is that I remember when I went to leave, I went around and gave everybody a huge hug.
Yes.
And I remember everybody, it was like frozen caveman. A couple people, it was like they were not ready for the hug.
They don't know affection.
They weren't ready for the Friel hug.
It's a broken group of people. It's a very very insecure. Don't fucking touch me.
Yes.
I've been hurt a lot.
But eventually they do come around and start hugging, which is nice.
Well, the whole point of the name of Goodness was I remember writing in a journal and I wanted that band to embody something positive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As ricochet off of the past, and so hence the name Goodness. But
I also think getting back to my other story about the Eagles and the headache. I mean, I think that
some people get a headache from listening to the Eagles.
Yeah, it's true. Some people hate the Eagles.
Chris has a headache and listens to the Eagles.
But I truly believe that the great bands, every great band is like a jigsaw puzzle band, and I think that with that band, the missing pieces were Thea and myself. I think when we came in there, all of a sudden it just made it the super band,
Yeah.
And when I saw you guys before, it just was it was good.
Yeah.
But I feel like when we came in, it was everything locked into place with the drums, and then with Thea's amazing harmonies and the bass playing, and that's how I felt when I came to play with you guys. All of a sudden I was like, wow, these songs are awesome. And the biggest thing about it was so original. The music was so, to me, it just sounded so unique. I remember telling I was also playing with Give at that time, and I was trying to explain.
That's right.
Chris and I had a band.
I remember that. Yeah.
I was trying to explain to Michael Foster, our guitar player, what it was like, and I was like, I can't really explain it because some of the influences that were in that group were just not of my world.
Right.
That I wasn't familiar with, so I couldn't say at that time.
Right.
Now when I hear it now, there's things in there the Breeders and the Pixies, and obviously Danny's classic rock, and 80s influences and things. But at that time, I was just sort of I don't really know what I could really pinpoint it, and I think that was the great thing about that band was that it was a little bit of a, I guess a blessing and a curse. It was a hard thing for the record companies to pigeonhole.
Right, where are we going to put this band?
Where are we going to put this group?
Well, anything that is not a straight ahead hit.
Yes.
is difficult.
Yeah.
Like the Pixies
Yeah.
would be difficult, you know, or Smashing Pumpkins, I'm sure at some point, unless they had a hit, you know, they are not straight ahead. I mean, they had a smash
and I
hit.
say this being totally appreciative of ever having a record contract, because so many people never have, and there's so many people now that will never have them because record companies are disappearing. But I think you also have to think of the timeline of our group, and I think at the time that we got around to like our second deal, I think the labels just were getting so lazy, and I just don't think they at that time. I mean, I think like when we were on Atlantic, I think that we were on a great machine, and I think they had some good ideas and things and stuff like that. But by the time we got to Epic, I just think that they were just sort of like, I don't know anymore. Like they just didn't know. They just didn't know what to do with a rock group. They didn't know. And then you add in the female singer, and they just what radio station we put?
All they know how to do is to pull me out and make some sort of solo female thing, which is what Atlantic wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, I also too. I think with us, like there was with the second record, like there was a lot of female singers that were on like the mountain type stations or AAA, whatever that was at that time. So I think that they were trying to put us on that, like with Joan Osborne or things that were happening at that time where we were never going to fly on that.
Right.
So it was like that's what I mean. They were just lazy.
Well, I look at like Jason. So Lava has Jessie J, right? And I go, that's what they wanted me to be. You know what I mean? Like there's these females with bold, big ass voices now.
You couldn't be Jewel. So,
no, it's big enough where it's like I'm not quite Alanis Morissette. Could have been that, whatever. But there's women with big voices now all over the place, like Adele or anybody. Where it's like if I could pluck you out and do that, that's what we think we need to do because we don't know what to do with your band.
Yes,
we don't know what to do with that.
You're better than all those, though.
Thank you, sweetie.
Absolutely,
you are.
Absolutely.
And if you could make something that would blow everybody out of the water, your next thing that you make, whatever it is.
Well, what I like about right now is that it doesn't. None of the outside matters anymore. Like I can have a website, I can do a podcast and a blog, I can record, and I have a home.
But it still comes down to the songs.
Well, and I can write songs.
That's what I mean.
So I don't have to.
Your next record could be just blow everybody's minds.
Could be. I don't have to answer to anyone anymore, so I can have my artistic vision without the moment of somebody really messing with it or stopping me, which is great. It's nice to have control because I think the biggest tragedy would be how hard we worked on everything, only to have someone like throw it away.
Well, yeah, I can't imagine. I think all of you guys in Goodness, from speaking as the sixth member of Goodness,
really are.
Is that I think all of you guys kind of have like PTSD from all your experiences, and I mean this to be honest. I think you guys went through a lot as a band, and I was in the room when you were told a lot of lies, and I was there when they were saying, okay, Danny and Carrie are the key members, or that I was there when you told me, this guy just pulled me aside and told me, we just care about you, we want to get you a Grammy, and you guys were pulled apart in so many ways the minute you were on a major label. It's really, what you guys have gone through is almost like going through the war, And I from being in a band with Danny for a couple of years, I can see that where he's just now kind of like the turtle putting his head out of the shell, just kind of like, is it okay that I do some music and I stand on my own? I mean, you guys have been through a lot, and I think that you guys are all, not that you're all still making music, you're survivors, but what you went through was really tough, and I think it takes almost a lifetime to emerge from that.
And I also think with us, I mean, it was not always perfect, but I think the five of us handled it fairly well. There wasn't a lot of, screaming matches and things like that. I mean, they were there, but I think that we had a nice way that the five of us sort of handled it, I think.
We very quickly were conscious of, like, if we had a reaction to something that we're like, that's too much, or we worked hard.
Yeah.
At being good as a family.
Yeah. You were the most band meetinest band ever. You guys would have so many band meetings, Rick, get out of the band for a second. Yes. We're talking, and I just aside to like the doc from Chris, but you guys would have so
get
many,
out.
Or we'd be at a club, and then you guys would all go huddle in a booth, and and I'd have to wait over there. Like, you guys would have band meetings literally almost every day just to kind of work through your stuff, which is great. That's probably how you survive.
But I mean, there was that time period where when we're on Epic, where we literally were running out of gas. We'd be doing shows, and then we'd be driving, and we'd have to pull over, and our manager, who was traveling at that time, Dan DeVita, he would have to make phone calls where it's like, we are literally going to run out of gas if you don't get us some money. or if you don't do something,
support,
you know, there was just so many times where, like, you know,
I remember being in New Jersey. Dan's like, I don't know if we can leave this hotel.
I think that it just kept thinking the van was going to stop. It was like, because eventually it's going to stop. You know, like, we're just not going to.
That takes a toll on people, and so then the individuals start having their own growth periods and their own fall downs, and so that's hard. That's hard to keep that whole ship.
You're not
going.
in the cocoon of Seattle anymore. Just like when we were in LA, you're not in that little safety net.
Yeah.
No.
Where you're suddenly out and you're stuck in the middle of New Jersey and you don't know if we can get gas or food or anything to get to the next show. And
somebody's barfing and ill and has pneumonia and we're in St. Petersburg, Florida. And like, I don't know. Where's the hospital? Well, and everybody then, and you got to think we were in our late 20s.
Yeah.
And so people, that's a growth period for people. And so people are either like getting their shit together or falling apart. And so when you've got, you know.
And that's why I use that term heartbreaking, because I think that, you know, you've got so much of your self invested in that, in that, you know, that band that you're in that time. It could be any band, but the band that we were in at that time. And then you've also kind of got, you know, your career in mind. It's like you're trying to hit that home run so you can sort of like, you know, if I just get over this hump, then, you know, this will give me this career that I want to sustain, you know, my life for a couple more years, you know.
Let me ask you guys something bold here. Like, so this is a chunk of neuroses of mine, and I'd love to toss it out here. So, like you said, Rick, at some point, Jason Flom pulled me into a van and said, he literally said, we don't give two shits about your band. Right. We're ready to do a record with you tomorrow.
You told me, you were so upset about it. You pulled me aside and told me, you're like, I can't believe, you know.
I'll be honest here, though. When he said it, my heart kind of soared, and I was like, because I'm such a loner.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
At the time, I'm very much a loner, and I'm intuitive, and I was like, my heart said, yes, let's get out of here. I want to go to New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he then proceeded down the street to disparage, in an awful way, each and every one of my band members. And I was like, one, that's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Two, I was like, bad form, fucker.
Yeah.
Three, I was like, if you're willing to do, my thought, and my final thought, which kind of finished it, was like, if you're willing to say that about them, what are you going to say about me when I quote unquote fail or don't sell records?
Right.
Yeah. And I decided, and then we all, it gets better. I go down to a bar and see a band with him, and then we come back and go to dinner with the rest of Goodness. And I have to walk into the room knowing what he said about everybody.
Yeah.
And I remember we even had a band meeting, and everyone, you guys all said, they're like, Carrie, they want you, not us. And it was so hard for me. I'm very Libra. I'm very...
Yeah.
I also like family, and for good or bad, I want the altruistic, like, I want it to work. I want to beat them. And so I didn't take him up on that. And sometimes I will say I regret it. And I want to know. My question is, do you think I made a mistake? Or my mom would say, you don't know what would have happened to you, and you weren't ready.
I'm a big believer in everything you do leads to where you are now. And I think if you did one thing different, that's why I don't have any regrets about my life, because it led me to my wife, Anna. So everything I did led me to that moment of meeting her and seeing her in line at the Flight Tomorrow show, walking in with Chris, you know, helping him with his drums like usual. So I'm a big believer that everything led you to where you are now. So then you have to ask, like, well, am I happy with where I am now, today, on this Sunday?
Right.
And I am. But then you have to ask yourself that.
Yeah.
Because if you had done something different, you wouldn't have met your husband and had Orion. There's stuff that you never would have. So you have to figure that out. That would that be worth it and not have what you have now? And for me, everything I did, all twists and turns, and wishing I'd stayed in LA with Shadow, and wishing Chris and I kept doing Shadow, and being very upset that our friendship with Mike fell apart, and because he was a great friend, and losing Danny for a while, and you know, Chris and me just sticking together, and all this crazy music and trying to make it, and then realizing it's not about making it, it's about something else. But all that led me to meeting Anna, and to me that's the best thing ever happened, is meeting my wife. It far supersedes anything else in my life. So I don't have any regrets because it led me to that.
I love that. Chris, what do you think?
Well, I'll go back to the initial story. I mean, it's just such a kind of a, you think about the way that he presented that situation to you. I mean, he's the one that probably made the mistake, because the way that he presented it, if he just would have said to you, like, hey, you're super talented, which you are. You're creative, which you are. I am a superstar A&R guy, which he was.
Absolutely.
Let's do a record together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can still do Goodness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Those guys are cool. Even though in his mind he's going, they're fucking a bunch of jokers. But he should have, it's the way that he presented it was so shitty, and also...
It was very cutthroat.
And you and I have talked about this over the years, and I have, I respect Jason Plum. I think he's a successful person, and a lot of the things that he said to the band, now years later, I totally get it. It was just the fucking way that he did it. It was so disrespectful and so demeaning to our own dreams and the things that we had accomplished to that point, which wasn't that easy, the things that we had done. So I understand what he was trying to do. It was just the way that he presented it, But getting to the broader picture, because I love you so much and I think you're a mega talent, I wish you could have made that record and it could have been a platinum selling record. But you also have to remember, there was about 40,000 people, it doesn't matter if they're male, female, drummers, bass players, that made records that weren't that successful. Now, there are some that did, and then there's some people that had, mini successes. Like, I always think of at that time there was all these different girl singers, and actually
just Charles E. Fibbers.
Yeah, and that was that era of the girl singer thing. I think Alanis Morissette was, waving the flag for we can all do it. But it's like there's really only one Alanis. There's really only one Jewel, and just like you are you. You don't sound like anybody else. Now, that gets to Rick's point. I believe what he's saying too. I think it's sort of like that butterfly effect. You move.
I truly believe in that.
You move something, like if I could change things about my life, I would never be where I am now. Right. So I don't have any regrets. I mean, there are things that I wish I could. There's like a couple things, and if I could do this more, I kind of wish that I could tour more. I wish there are things, but those are in the present tense.
Right.
I wish there's things that with my musical talent that I have, I wish I could utilize it more. Mm-hmm. But I'm also realistic in the sense that it's just for me to do that would be a life that would not be very great for myself and also for my family, and
right.
I don't know if I don't want to be that guy that's sort of like not bringing in any money because I'm waiting to get the tour, or I'm going to play the shit tavern for $4 on a Wednesday.
I'll give you an example. Like AJ Perro from Truth and Sister just died, and then I first heard that's it's too bad he died, and then I heard that he died on a tour bus, and I was like, oh, that's no way to go. Now let me explain. Rick, 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I'd be like, that's totally cool.
Yeah.
Rick now, from meeting Anna and having our life together, living together and getting married and owning a house, I go, oh, that's terrible. That's no way to go.
So that's interesting you bring that up. So
I've evolved.
Yeah, that's the one thing I want to add to what I was saying. When you're in it, you don't really see it, and you're just and for you, it's like
you're in this
just like everybody else. You're just doing the best you can for that version of your life, and all the influences around you. And when you're in a band, you're sort of like doing the best you can, also because you love these other people. Hopefully, at that time. So you're trying to do the best you can. So you don't really see it, and your decisions are sort of made at that time. Whereas, like, you
step away from it.
You step away from it now, and you get some hindsight.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I think of. Because I obviously talked to both of you a lot about it. I've talked, I've obviously thought about it and mulled around. But my thought is a lot along the lines of what Rick feels is that two things. Had I knew a long time ago that I do not want to wake up in a motel room at 50 alone because I'm chasing music. Like I can't do that.
And you'd be alone. You wouldn't have a marriage. You wouldn't have kids. You have to sacrifice all that for the career so you can play Topeka.
Music isn't my family, my lover like that. It's not my. There's some people who are like, this is my. This is what I do. Maybe Willie Nelson. I don't know. This is my family. This is my life. But I knew way back then. I was like, I will not be able to sustain that. I will not be able to survive being alone in a hotel room with no family, no whatever. So I kind of knew that back then. And secondly, I totally agree with Rick. Like, I wouldn't give up Orion or Marty or this conversation right now.
For anything.
For any of that.
No, absolutely. And I think the other thing that you got to remember, and I don't know if you've ever looked at it this way, is that in a way, I mean, you kind of did make that record. I mean, when you left Goodness and you made your first solo record, which is an amazing record, You kind of made that record.
Did I tell you what Jason Flom said about that invitation?
No.
Jason goes, yeah, I don't think that's up to snuff.
You're like, that's the record I would have made for Atlantic.
That's literally what he said. I know, it was so hurtful.
Chris is right, though. I never thought about that. That is the record you would have made.
I would have wanted to make.
Atlantic Records.
Yeah.
That's not the record they would have wanted to make with me.
But I'm just saying.
Taken it and...
No, they would have got me a writing group.
But those were the songs, though.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that.
Well, I think I thought about that a long time ago in Hammerbox when I thought about, like, you're writing alternative music. Like, is that who you are? Is that... Because you're going to have to, kind of in a rebel way, like, stick to that.
But we're all... None of us are one thing, though. Like, you know, Chris and I come out of hard rock and heavy metal, but like he said, he was listening to the Eagles. You know, and we're the point I'm trying to make is that none of us are one thing. We're a kaleidoscope. We're not just one kind of music.
But I did know that I was going to want to write the music from my heart, not something that's sold.
Yeah.
You know, and I tend to be a new wave baby, more of a singer-songwriter kind of thing, or if I'm with a band, like I love to hear music and then write to it. But I knew that I really enjoyed writing the music they were creating, not like, is this music going to sell, you know?
Right.
And no, kudos to everybody who has music that sells that I like. Yeah. But I just, a long time ago,
way of looking at
committed.
it.
Yeah, I'm like committed.
Also, you got to remember, regrets are kind of tricky. I mean, if you are in a situation, you're looking at it, and you can learn from it, it's a positive. But I think regrets can be kind of poisonous, and they can kind of eat at you.
So is the past.
Because the truth is that you can't do anything about it, and two, there's nothing really that is going to come from it. So you might as well, be in the present. You know, I mean, if you look at it and you've had a bad
We're about to go into another hour if we start talking about the power now.
I mean, I'll be honest though, because I love my life so much. I'll tear up a little bit. I know you do. I love my life so much that it's almost like even when we do like Shadow or the Rockfords, it's like I don't want to go back. I want to just I want to be in the present. I want to just. It's almost like it's like a briar patch or like. And everybody's like, when are the Rockfords do some more music? When Shadow will play some more? Like, I don't, that was enough. That doesn't mean I don't want to do anymore, but I don't want to get caught up in that of like looking backwards because there's nothing there. That's, all I have is here today, and that's all I want.
Whereas for me, my reaction is different. Like, I don't do those because I think of it like as a situation where commercially, like I'm going to make some money. Right. I like to do those two projects because it's a chance for me to be around all my favorite people.
Doing the Rockfords things with me was so good for my soul. It was so good to see you guys. It was good to be immersed in music. It was good to have the conversations. And that's kind of part of why I like doing music. I just want to get in there and just do.
And also there's another side. I agree. There's another side with that Rockfords thing too, is being that we didn't have the chance to play that many shows. Is that I think that record has been around now for a long time and people have gotten to know it and love it. So I think it's actually very emotional to sort of play those songs and see people singing along and know that because we all believed in that music so much and that band was truly like a democracy where everybody was putting stuff in that I think it's such an amazing thing to be able to play those songs and because they're so good.
Also I love those songs so much, and there's things that you associate with things not working out in the past that you really have to go, okay, it's music from the past, but now we're all in the present and we're all different people.
Right. Yeah, and it's making people so happy.
And we're just, but I mean the 5 people in the band.
Yeah, true.
Like we're not where we were in the past, where there might have been egos.
When someone said it was 13 years ago, I was like, what?
Yeah, we all did the music for the right reason.
That's true. You say that too. I mean, I never thought.
I didn't think it was that long.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Well, that's because the time is like elastic. It's like it's really weird to think about. It's like, was that really 13 years ago, or was it just the other day?
It feels like just the other day.
But it's also a testament to the three of us who do a lot of things that are creative. So it's sort of like, it's not like we just did the Rockfords and then we sat around and didn't do anything. I mean, if that was like the last thing you did,
I know.
Then you'd be like, fuck, I think it's been 13 years and 2 days.
I know, right? Exactly.
After that, all of us went and did different things. So it's sort of like, you stay busy.
Right.
You keep creating because you're a creative person. It doesn't matter if you're a musician or a painter or a sculptor. That's what you like to do.
You have to. It's so much a part of who you are.
Well, I would love some advice. I mean, I feel like this year is, and I'm going to do a preface on this podcast that I'm like, you need to just drink some wine. It's going to be 3 hours long. Shut it. Listen, but anyway.
Tell all the listeners.
But I love that. I don't mind that at all.
Or drink some coffee.
Or drink some coffee, whatever you need.
Yeah.
But two things I'm really working hard at, three topics we can all talk about. Could go on forever. Not this time, but
she got you.
one, we've all had massive things happen.
I'm not drinking.
This is the wine break for those listening.
A little sore on his lip will clear up. It's fine.
I don't have that anymore.
No.
For those listening, this is really long, and I know you committed people are into it. But so 3 things I wanted to touch on as well, and I realize this could go on a while. But we've also had massive things happen in our life, like a passing of a parent.
Absolutely.
2, we're in our 40s, and so I'm reading a ton about it. And I'm reading this book by.
Are you sure Rick's in his 40s?
He's forever 21.
He is creeping closer.
I feel young at heart, but I'm almost 50. I'm 50 next close.
Okay, weird. You're not.
But I don't
not
feel,
today.
No, I don't
not
feel.
Today.
I feel younger.
Honey, you're forever like 21.
I feel younger than ever.
I feel older.
Well,
yeah, you do.
I'm sure you do.
Well, I played like 45 songs last night.
The thing is, too, like
exactly.
Playing with Danny Newcomb, like I remember when we first became friends, I had a paper out with him.
And he was
following me on paper route like in '77, and he's like, man, I can't wait till I get old. He's so
he
great.
Said that?
I'm gonna get gray hair and I'll be all this stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this is the best time in our life. And now he is old and he has no hair and he wears a hat and
he has some hair.
But the point I'm trying to make is that he's where he wanted to be the whole time.
And he's an older soul in his heart, though. He's very much an old man.
What I'm trying to make is that, getting back to your possible record with Atlantic, it doesn't matter because now you're where you want to be, and I'm where I want to be. I'm assuming Chris is where he wants to be, but I know I am.
But you brought up something that I want to bring up is that I'm reading a lot about, due to the passing of my mother 2 years ago, this coming May 13th, is reading about being present, and that the present is the only thing that matters, and the past and the future just...
Takes
not
work.
real.
Yeah, it takes work.
Like some
really
if anybody ever is grieving, some Pema Chodron is great to read. Her passing was the whole weekend was uncanny. I mean, I spent the weekend with you guys.
I remember.
I saw you guys on Friday.
Yep.
I saw you on Sunday because you played your solo show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I went to the bookstore and I actually bought 3 Pema Chodron books because of my friend Barbara Mitchell. She's like, oh, you should get these. They're amazing. Thank God, because those really saved me.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I remember coming to see you at that show, and we hadn't talked that much, but even at that show that you did, I think you played with Jared or something.
Yes, yeah.
Your show was so honest and so brutal that I was like, I, who knows you so well, was not prepared.
Oh, really?
Don't you remember you were crying?
Chris gets
and you were talking.
Those are my shows now.
But no, I'm not. This is not.
He does get a little uncomfortable.
This is.
You too, you know it. He's trying to be all like cool, but I know you were like just crawling.
Well, I was
your skin like.
I'm not uncomfortable.
But Chris wants to go high.
But I'm saying to you that like I feel like it was almost like part of this journey that you were in.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I was seeing you in it, and that's why it was such a. I remember you called me right after you heard about your mom, and it was such like a bridge from it was I had just seen you letting all this stuff out.
You're like, oh shit, there's gonna be so much more now.
No, I don't think I felt that way. No, it was like I said, it was just such an emotional experience watching you play.
Well, going to Minneapolis for 3 years was to escape Seattle and to sort a lot of my past out, and I think I talked to both of you guys in between then, and just saying like, I'm here to sort my shit out.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of resentment and anger or just my stuff, and I needed to go somewhere where I had felt like in the last year before Minneapolis, people kept talking about me like I was in the past.
Yeah.
Like, oh, remember when you did that thing at Rock Candy? I remember that. I'm like, I'm not dead. I'm like, I'm not done.
Remember all that good stuff you used to do?
Well, and I was a new mom, and I felt overweight, and I just felt tired and lost and broke, and like, and just all of a sudden everyone was like, remember when? And I was like, fuck you.
No, I think you made a good choice. I mean, I think
I needed that.
Sometimes you need little change, and sometimes you need something enormous like you did, where you just moved away.
I need big change. I like big change. For me, it's very good. Again, being very lonerish, it's like I am like if I could have gone to the desert, I would have done that. Like
But and again, I mean, when you're in it, you don't really see it. But now that you you've done this, then you kind of see it. At the time, you just feel like you're making these choices, and you have to make choices. You can't just sit on your hands.
And I like change. I get giddy about change.
Absolutely.
I get very radical about sell everything and leave. And I actually felt like I hadn't done that soon enough, really. As I work on it now, but a lot of what I talk about now is the being present. And I'm reading this book by Sue Monk Kidd, who wrote The Secret Life of Bees, and she has this book on midlife that is the best book I've ever read about midlife, and every chapter speaks to me. She's pretty committed Christian, but that doesn't really matter to me, and there's a lot of religions say the same thing. She doesn't get on a bandwagon. I like how she speaks about it. But every chapter's been I've never seen it written exactly how I feel about how there's a point in your life where you may need to separate from the group, and that's hard. And I have definitely felt that in Seattle, where this is just my path. I love everybody, but I kind of gotta go. And I don't know how to explain it, but it makes you feel lonely. And if you don't do it, intuitively it's what you need to do, even if it's hard. So being back here, it's glad to be back, loving all the relationships, really appreciating them, but still understanding I have a personal path that isn't gonna that I struggle with, right? I'm not gonna go out every night because I know that for me that doesn't work, or I have something to answer in here that is about cocooning and sitting and waiting and being present, and some of that is not solving, but the waiting has a solving in it, right? I think of your wife Anna, and I actually want to talk. I asked her to be on the podcast, and she gave me this ooh. And I was like, I know. I'm like, you can just come see.
Maybe you come to her.
But
she's not coming here.
I know. I could do that, but I feel like she's true to herself in that.
Absolutely.
Going back to what you said, there is a collective of people here that I know, I've been with, you've been with forever, and there's nothing harder than understanding that I love all you guys, but what I can't get him, you know what I mean? What I need to do is separate. That's been really hard for me. I need to be alone to find my vision, and then I can join again, or...
Well, there's that thing where you I think one of the things you're saying that is sometimes so hard to get out is that sometimes you have to make decisions that are for you. Or if you're a married person and you've got kids or whatever the situation is, you make decisions for you and your wife, or you make decisions for your family, or whatever. So sometimes you make decisions that aren't about making everybody else in your life happy, and sometimes those are not easy to make.
No, but I get really excited.
I think that, with you moving, in a way, it really was just a decision for you. But being that you're a person that has made music for so long in this city, that it was in a weird way, it was sort of a decision made about you and a lot of these people that really like you and care about you. So it was kind of a big to-do. But in a way, you were just sort of doing it for yourself, which is what it should be.
We all had an over-under of how long you'd be gone, though. Everybody was how long do you give her? All our friends would have bets on how long it would take.
Or I would get people come, that are...
I'm glad you were thinking about me.
They all were.
Everybody was fans of yours would come in, she must really hate that snow, don't you think? And I was like, I guess. I mean, in a way, they're kind of well, fuck,
I saw a picture of her rolling in it. She seemed happy.
But you got to do for yourself.
And not explain it.
Yeah.
Well, I think
it ties into what you were saying before about, did I make this right decision with the thing? I mean, that may have been a decision that you made where you're sort of I'm thinking about myself, but I'm also thinking about these other people and things like that. So there's nothing wrong with making a decision that's the best thing for you at that time.
Well, I think everybody knows that I have a deep love for everybody. That makes it harder to go, I need to sort my shit out. And that's just for me to answer. And how I function or behave or choose is my personal issue, right? Just how I choose to get up or not get up, it's that's up to me. That's my responsibility.
Well, if you're lucky, I mean, you make, in your life, you make decisions where most people enjoy them, but there's no way you're going to go through life without...
It doesn't matter if everybody enjoys it.
Well, I'm just saying, the odds are sometimes you're going to do things for you that you need.
Right.
That aren't
well, the one thing I did learn, I feel like I've learned and I live now, is that for the longest time, I would never reach out for help. I would never call anybody. And when I was in Seattle, part of the problem was became very obvious to me. I remember talking to my mom on the phone and saying, I was depressed. I'm I feel awful. And she's like, well, I think I called her and said was just kind of desperate. Like, I was depressed, but I was not in the habit of asking for help. And I said, I can't think of anyone I would call. And she was like, you know all these people. And I was like, I don't, and I realized, I'm like, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to do that because my assumption is no one's going to get what I feel.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
like a lot of depressed people do,
that's
right?
depression.
Right?
Yeah.
And so later when I was in Minneapolis, leaving means you have conversations, reactions, and whatever. I'm like, oh my God, people love me. And I can ask them. And if I just clarify what I need, like if I open my mouth and say, I'm really depressed, I need some help. People will rise to the occasion
you gotta say.
and have a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do here. Like, and so that was revelatory. It was amazing.
Yeah. It's a removal of the mask.
I loved it.
When you get older, you're able to let go of that image that you think you have that doesn't really exist, so only you see that mask.
Right.
It's removing that mask and being able to go to a deeper level.
Part of me wonders, and I would ask you guys this, so I am at this quandary right now where I really want to make music. I don't want to work alone at it like Danny in the house. Like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I work at a project management job in digital world. I'm exhausted. I have a kid. I love him. But I'm tired. And I'm like, but I want to make music. Like, when we were practicing, I was like, to have guitars, amazing guitar players blasting in my ears, and you playing or whatever, I'm like, this is fucking heaven.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want to bathe in this.
Yeah.
How do I get this really fast for like $1? Like, how do I just...
Then just do it.
Well, that's part of this.
Just do it. Don't say I want. Just do it.
Well, that's why I want to just be like, I'm going to raise $5,000. I'm going to get studio time. I just want to do it. I don't want to like...
But prior to that, just organize some practices when you have time and have people come over and then you'll play.
Simpler and cheaper.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't overthink it.
But it is
You're
about...
right.
It is about...
You're overthinking what you need to say and do to raise money. You don't need to do any of that. Just have a practice.
It's about finding a good collective of people around you that inspire you too.
Yes.
That's another part.
People you like being around.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't sometimes.
And that's that situation. That's that. Again, getting back to that
Everybody's
Rockfords
got practice spaces.
That Rockfords thing is like, it's great. People, number one, hilarious, cool people, and people now that have these great experiences you can relate to. People with kids and things like that. But it's also like, in my opinion, like the best players.
Yeah.
So you've kind of got like this super team.
But I have this fantasy though too, because there's a side of me, again, I think different from what other people are doing. Like, I like Florence and the Machine. I like Bjork. I like digital. I like Martha Wainwright. Like, I want to get in with a group of people. I'm like, can you help me find this vision and create it with me?
You're putting up barriers that you don't.
Well, I mean, what I'm asking you is like, I want to do that. Can you guys do that with me? Like, can people come with me? Like,
you can't do that. You just gotta get together people. You're bringing those influences with you. They're bringing like Eric Clapton. Another guy's bringing Van Halen. Another guy's bringing the Foo Fighters. They're bringing all their influence together.
Yeah.
And then you do your music, but you're coming from Florence and all this Bjork.
Can I get them to do that?
No, dude, no, it's not like that. Because they have an equal say. So you bring it to it. Like if we did another Rockers record, you would bring all those crazy influences in. Yeah. But Mike's gonna bring in the blues, and I'm gonna bring in Cheap Trick, and Danny's gonna bring classic rock, and Chris is gonna bring in his things. So I'm just saying that you're putting barriers in front of yourself to keep you from doing anything.
Well, no, I will say this about solo. I want to do what I want to do, right?
Yeah,
so I'm glad everybody likes Van Halen and all that. I don't give two shits about
That's fine, but that's what they can filter your vision through their influences.
Okay.
That's
what I'm wondering, because part of me looks for like new people. Like I like Katie Kate, I like Eric Blood, I like I'm like, do I bring new people to say like, I just want to vet out this? Can you understand what I want?
I mean that's
but you're gonna have to say that through your original music. You're not covering Katie Kate. I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
But you're not covering those bands. So you're gonna be putting your vision and saying, this is my original song, and you're coming with those influences, and they're gonna bring their things in. You just gotta do it and not talk about it.
You're right.
And overthink it and say, can you do this? If you say that, then they're out of here.
No, I get that. Part of that talking a lot comes from being like tired and exhausted. So the time that I have, but I think what I need to learn how to do is just be like, okay, set up a date, bring everybody, let's go.
Get together and bring your song, and then they'll help you fill it out.
Like Kim does that. Like she does these things where she'll have 2 or 3 people in the house. They're like these songwriting sessions, and maybe something comes from it. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's not that big of a deal if it doesn't.
Right.
You know, but at least you have kind of like this creative.
But Kim's not going, you know, I like Emmylou Harris. Can you do it?
Oh, that's not what I mean.
I'm being half serious, but it's still, it's like, you just get together and start. That's how you do it.
Okay, good point.
But I would say the Virgo side of me says, get less people in the room. I would say, find somebody somebody totally brand new that's just like a spark plug that knows like what this guy does, knows how to work a computer, knows how to run the Pro Tools, you know. Or,
see, we're different opinions.
Yeah, so I would get like, you know, get like one or two guys together, or gals, girls, whoever.
Yes, girls.
Get them together, and you know, make a collective of people where you throw out ideas,
I gotta say,
you know, because I think what Rick's talking about is more like a band type situation.
No. I'm just saying starting.
Just start.
You're keeping yourself from actually doing it.
Yeah.
You are.
I get it.
People put these barriers. It's like, people say to me like, well, how'd you meet your wife? And boy, I wish you could fall in love. And and they go, you know, I just gotta get myself together first and figure myself out, and then I'll be ready to love somebody. Or I just gotta, you know, really get something, place to live, and I gotta get myself, and then I'll be ready to love somebody. It's like, that's not how life works.
You're right. Yeah.
That's not how anything works. It's like, it just happens.
Right.
Although I do like fall in love with somebody that does have their shit.
It's not, but that's not how it works.
I don't want a bunch of pals that don't have their shit.
We're very different thinking.
But
I mean it.
What you're both saying is that like when I did like this side project Esther Kang, right? We're gonna record in August. Like already put time in. It's gonna be at Tad's place.
Yeah.
Gonna do a Kickstarter. Really excited. But like the time that like Eric and Daniel G. Harmon came over to my house. Eric brought a kit and Daniel came over. We wrote like 4 songs. Like the beginning of at least 3 to 4 songs, like right there, and I loved it. It was just sort of like you said, you get the elements together where you vet it out, and I was like, bam, bam,
also,
bam.
I think
it was fun.
One thing that you're not mentioning is where you're not giving yourself enough credit is you're a fucking really creative person and really talented.
Thank you.
So they're feeding off you. You know, it's like an energy source going around. So you got to remember you're acting like. I'm just gonna come in and be all mousy. I might help do something.
See what happens.
It's like you're fucking Carrie. You're gonna bring your Carrie thing, and those guys are gonna be like, hell yeah, I'm playing my Carrie. You know what I'm saying? It's sort of like you got to give yourself some credit on what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
It's like myself. Like when I go into a situation, you know, I know that I'm gonna bring my thing.
Right.
And I'm gonna come in. It's like a prize fight. I'm in to fucking win.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what the situation is. Whether it's a concert or a recording session or like a wedding. I'm going to do it at my best ability. I'm not going to sleep through it.
Right.
You know, because you got to do that. You got to do it.
I'm getting on you, Chris.
You got to do it because you don't know when you're going to do it again.
That comes from our training, being little kids, doing 5 days a week. We were trained like fighters to have this thing and have this stamina, and from our parents saying, do your best all the time. So Chris and I still carry that with us. I'm assuming Mike and Danny do too.
Yeah.
I think maybe I didn't have it so much. I remember I told somebody this because this feels significant to me. When it came, I mean, this is after doing Hammerbox and Goodness and started doing solo stuff. Yeah. When I would go home and like sit down at the piano and my mom and stepdad would show up to listen, it's the most I've never felt so vulnerable in my life. Yeah. Like it was terrifying.
I don't understand that.
No, it was terrifying, and I'm really digging into why that was.
You gotta figure that out.
Because it was
but I also think
private. It was so private.
That's a whole podcast.
It is a whole podcast.
But also, I don't think that's totally foreign. It's just the situation that we have is so different. It's sort of like when we were growing up.
We gotta let everybody's parents were like our parents.
Yeah, when we were growing up, I mean, you kind of feel that way, and then also now that I've gotten older, you kind of realize there's not that many parents that stayed married. You know, we grew up in a family where our folks stayed married. Whole life.
We
grew up in that time period where a lot of people were getting divorced.
Our dad would tell us he loved us every day.
Right.
You know? And I laugh at us going, my dad never said that, or I can't believe it. What, you know?
I'm not saying that I think that people should stay married. There's situations where you should separate, obviously, but I think that
I thought about that. As
we kind of, you grow up, you kind of think this is situation normal. As I've gotten older, I realized our situation was not so normal.
But it's normal for us. It's it's what we knew. It's our home.
Yeah. No, but I thought about that about you guys. I was like, wow, you had parents that stayed together. Actually, this morning I was thinking that I was like, your parents were parents
and
that stayed together all the time.
Together every day.
And this gets into the thing that you're kind of we keep getting to this sort of hovering in the room is that the three of us have all gone through this incredible life-changing situation. We've lost a parent, and when I say that, I mean that 100%. And people who listen to this or friends that I have gone through this. And my wife's mom passed away, and it is fucking life-changing when you lose a parent.
It is
absolutely, and there's no rules for it. There's no preparation.
No.
But you just got to get on board and you deal with it. And the thing that I do miss so much about my dad is that thing, that little. I said this at his funeral. It's like he would just give you that plug-in of that. I would connect with him, and it didn't matter what he said or how he said or what we were talking about. It was just that when I left that conversation, I just felt like I'm on
$100. Yeah.
$100.
Yes.
Yeah, he take on the world.
Yes.
He loves me. He's given me
everything's okay.
And I miss
say the right thing.
And I miss that. There's so many times during the day where I wish I could call him and I wish he would just say something
That's exactly
so
what I thought
fucking
today.
funny.
Yeah.
I just miss that. And I'll text Rick and say, God, I wish Dad would say something.
Yeah, we have this act of saying the right thing and also being so funny.
Is it nice?
We
that
laughed
you guys...
all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, your dad was so lovely. I felt like that. Remember, I felt like that they would say to me, and I know that they're charming people, but they're like, "You're like the daughter we never had."
Absolutely.
Which maybe they say that to Kim and Anna, but I was like, for me, I was like, I don't want to be in your family. Okay.
We grew up with laughter. Our whole dinner table was
super loving.
Well, there's so many layers to it because it's sort of like losing your dad, but it's also like losing one of your best friends.
Oh, I know it.
So
I know it. So tell me, you guys, what do you do? Because when you said, I wish I could talk to them, that's exactly what was hitting me yesterday. I was like, my mom, especially in the last 15 years as I had Orion, she's the only person I want to talk to. And I've never felt anything more profound and constant as this grief.
Yeah.
I will be going to work and be on the ferry and someone's talking to their mom, and it's not like a grandiose thing, but all of a sudden I would feel this pang where I go, I don't have that.
Yeah.
And in my family, who wasn't stayed together, I mean, I love my family, but we are not close people. So when my mom passed, I really felt orphaned. I mean, my brother and I are closer. We're very different, but I know we love each other.
Yeah.
But there are often times when yesterday was like, I need someone to talk to, and it's no one in my family.
Yeah.
And if left to their own devices, is this group of people that made up my family never going to speak again? Because my mom was the center of the family, right?
Yeah.
So I had weird feelings of
well, our dad was the same. He was kind of like the point guard guy. You'd have a family gathering and it'd be kind of fun, and then when Dad would get there, that's when it was on. It was
really.
And he just would make every situation
he kind of connected everybody.
So it's sort of like, it's such a hard one to explain, and I know you can relate to this. It's not like life is worse or that you're sitting around with just moping, but it's just different. And then what you do is you just got to get on board with it because it's just how life is.
Well, I say,
do I miss him? Yes, absolutely. But I'm also not unrealistic in the sense that I understand the situation. It's just part of life.
Right.
People pass away.
Well, I feel full-hearted about that. People pass, right? But there are some. My mom only going into the second year, so there's a part of me though that imagines if she was here, I'm like, life would be better.
Yes,
I just would.
Well, I feel the same way.
If she was here, I would feel better.
Yes.
Because she had such a great relationship with Orion. I mean, I'm sorry, but I feel like out of everything, I'm like, that's the injustice. I'm like, two of the best people I know are not going to be together. That makes no sense. And these are things I wasn't prepared for, that I would have to explain my mother to my son if he doesn't remember later. Those are things that I was like, I did not see that coming. I will probably live, 40 more years, 50.
Yeah.
And I'm going to live the age of myself without my mother. I'm going to double my age without her. I'm going to have to remind my son who she was for 40 fucking years.
Yeah.
Maybe. Hopefully. But I do think, and I've talked to you guys about this, her passing though was so perfect and beautiful and great that those are the things where, you're right, in the grander scheme, I know this is a part of life. This is a part of human.
And I feel the same way, about our dad, is that the situation couldn't have been better. He was such a vibrant force that he was never going to be one of those guys that was going to sit around playing golf when he retired. He was never
Right.
He was never ever going to retire.
said that.
And he always made the joke that he was going to die at his desk. And
that was his vision.
He was also, never ever going to be the guy that was in bed for years with some terrible illness.
No.
And I think for a guy that I knew growing up that had a profound fear of death, that when it came time and he faced it, he couldn't have. It was just like he was like, yeah, this is what happened, and he was right there with it, and he was in it, and and we had the chance to be with him, and
Can I ask you guys, were you there when he passed?
No.
I was there.
You were the last person.
I was there about 4 hours before he died.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was there right before that.
And it's interesting, the last thing that we did, I might get the name of this wrong, but we watched, he wasn't present really so much, but we watched, I think it's called Passing Strange. Mm-hmm. That play was on TV. So every time I hear about that, I always think
really?
about
What is
him.
that?
It's a play. I think his name is Stu. The Stu had that band.
Yeah, the Negro Problem. Yeah.
He wrote this play, and it's actually come to Seattle a couple times. So I'm like, I don't think I can go see it. I
get that.
I think it will kill me.
I can't look at those pictures or listen to anything on that show I played, because I literally played that show that you went to, I went to that show, went to the Alibi Room, and got the phone call from my family saying she's had an aneurysm. You got to come right now. And I mean, I can't.
Yeah, that's like there's this.
I can't go to the Alibi Room. I had a coworker say, "Let's go to the Alibi Room." I'm like,
There's a Wes Anderson movie that is about his dad passing, and that I love Wes Anderson. It's the one movie I haven't watched again yet because I was like, I just don't know if that's just gonna fuck me.
I get it.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, I'm so glad to talk to you guys about that, because again, it's like the other day I was like, I need to talk to somebody, because I was trying to suss out how I was feeling. I was like, I need to talk to somebody who knows how I feel, so this is really nice.
Well, he handled it beautifully. I mean, Chris is right. He just handled his whole passing beautifully, and he was in hospice, and he got to greet everybody. People got to come by.
Oh my God, I bet they loved him.
He didn't have a massive heart attack and died. He had, he basically was, his heart was giving out, but everybody got to come by and visit him, and we went by and saw him every day. And
I say this, it sounds funny to say, and it's just macabre and weird, but the truth of the matter is, when we actually got to see him after he passed away, you could go look at him. He had a big fucking smile.
Did he really?
And
we all started laughing.
And I remember Rick said to my mom, he's like, "Does he smiling?"
I think my mom said it, and then we all,
literally
the three of us started giggling.
I was like, "You bastard."
Yeah, the three of us started giggling.
I love that.
He was laying in this big
It was wonderful.
He had this big blanket over him, and he's like,
Oh, of
and
course.
when I was a little bit, it was like twinkling a little bit.
Yeah.
It was just,
Oh my
it was,
God.
and the three of us started giggling.
Your dad was winking with
so we were so afraid to walk in and see the bundles that we just started giggling. It was perfect for our family because that's all we did was
Well, yeah,
laugh.
that whole situation, I mean, for anybody that's dealt with that kind of stuff, it was such a strange...
Oh, I had my hand under my mom and on her chest when she passed.
Yeah.
I took her last breath, and it was wild to watch her body. And I noticed that, when she had an aneurysm, what's interesting is that, we took her off life support. She would never want that.
Yeah.
So, but your lungs and your brain keeps your lungs going.
Yeah.
For maybe a day, a week, whatever. But when it stops, stops circulation, everything. So you watch the body get I don't know why I focused on her ear. Her ear got really red, right? And then when she passed, it was like, I knew the minute I looked at her, I'm like, that's a carcass. It was just, she was beige. I don't know, it was, I know this is more macabre. But anyways, I just was like, oh yeah, we're done. And I was able to be like, okay, that's a carcass. Loved her, had a rose. We had like you said, her quilts. She was making quilts and pictures. So, but both of those scenarios are just wonderful ways to pass.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm really grateful for that.
He had the perfect life.
I think about those things, He
started from nothing and became something and
Yeah.
affected everybody he knew and changed lives and was a great dad and a great husband, and then he went out nice and peacefully and asleep with the TV on.
I still have your dad's pin with the
Perfect.
diamond on it.
Diamond pin.
I do.
But I do have to admit, that there's something about, our dad was such a big, positive person in this city, and still is. And, but, when you're going through the grieving process, there's nothing worse than, you're just trying to get through the day, and, everywhere you go, people are grabbing your hand, I want to talk to you about your dad.
No!
It's
Yeah.
You're just sort of I just want to eat.
Oh, it's going to be hell for you.
I just want to eat and work and get through tomorrow so I can get on
It's
board.
amazing though because from
and now I love it. that first couple of months was just such a bastard to deal with. I mean, a lot of that, in my other world, my work world, a lot of houses that I work in are these people that were part of the auction world.
Right.
So I'd be just there like 8 in the morning, just like, I just want to fucking paint and get
out of here.
And they're like, Chris, I need to talk to you. And it's like, please don't make me cry at work. I don't want to cry at work. It's just that thing, like I'm just trying to keep it together. Yes. So, I mean, but at the same time, it's so beautiful, the effect that, our dad, and we also have to include our mom, was amazing, the effect that they've had in this city.
Yeah, I was going to say.
To this day, there's nobody that'll be like them. I mean, they've created this incredible philanthropy thing that continues on, but they'll never ever be anybody.
Well, so will both of you.
Like yes,
I think that's true. Like, I mean, your family is well known in the auction world, but when I said this, I was like, I literally have posted like the Friel Brothers. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like you're your own band.
Absolutely.
Like you are the Friel Brothers, and most anybody who I've been in the music scene is like, oh yeah.
Well, I think that's the other side. I mean, I think we play music, but I think growing up with them, I think they've inspired us to be
more
giving people, and watching them give up so much of their time for free and things like that to raise money, for the city. And
most weekends we were by ourselves, Chris and I, just order pizza and
I love that.
hang out together because they'd be off doing auctions. So
and I think when we were kids, like we didn't really even understand what they were doing. It took a long time for me to really get the magnitude of the amount of money that they were raising in the city.
But they made it so fun. Like the Sunday morning, my dad would sit around the kitchen table and he would tell us the funniest stories about auctions.
So can you guys say like what your parents did? So they're massive, huge auctioneers.
My dad did Friel,
charity auctioneers,
and Sharon Friel, where they kind of started the auction cultures, of making it fun, with the fun and fundraisers. It wouldn't be serious. It would basically, let's have fun, let's have models on stage, let's play music during the event, and have props, and make it theme nights, or masquerade, or superheroes, or things like that. And my dad would just have fun, and everybody, and he was self-taught. He just started doing it. Most people go to auctioneer school in Montana, and they'll kind of come out the same.
He's so Vegas. Remember I said, I'm like, he just reminds me he should be part of the Brat Pack.
He knew everybody in the room, and he would just make jokes. And
the true story of it is that they went to an auction, and the auctioneer didn't show up. My dad's, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, what? And he just got on stage.
He'd never done it before.
And that's why his style was so unique. He didn't sound like, your typical cattle call auctioneer guy.
They all kind of sound the same.
Very original style. I mean, and I think over the years, obviously, he kind of fine-tuned it and really became.
But he fine-tuned it over experience. He didn't fine-tune it to sound like anybody else.
Right.
And that's why people liked him and they miss him. It's because he was so unique.
Right.
But the biggest thing is that they came up with this thing called Raise the Paddle, and I think for a lot of people, they go to these auctions, and it's an expensive night out, just paying for the ticket. So some people go to auctions and they don't bid on anything,
sure,
because they've spent so much money going. But he came up with this idea, knowing that people want to donate. So why not do this thing where, like, if you're here and you want to give $20, $50, $200, $2 million, $2,000,
whatever it is, whatever level you're comfortable.
So they would start a thing, and I think one of the last ones we went to, one of the last ones my dad ever did, we went to one. I can't remember exactly what it was for. I think it was cancer research or something. Yeah. But they said, "Is there anybody in this room who would like to donate $1 million?" And somebody did.
The guy stood up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
It was unbelievable.
Because I could see your dad just tossing that out, like, I want to know tonight, like.
And the room would be silent. You could hear a pin drop because everybody's going.
Well, that's the amazing.
But I love that though. I love that.
Somebody would stand up very slowly.
I love that. That totally speaks to my sort of like, let's get to it. Like,
well,
hey,
you have
let's
to
do
realize,
this.
and it's getting more so every day in Seattle. There's a lot of money in Seattle. There's a lot of people that want to be involved. They just don't know how.
Right.
And I think for some of those people, they don't want to do all the work of putting on a concert or putting on an auction, but they do want to get dressed up and come. And what feels better to them to know that they gave $100,000 for cancer research, Alzheimer's, juvenile diabetes, whatever it is.
Well, Orion's, all the schools, because just with school funding being an issue, like all the PTA programs, Orion's school just did their PTA, and I offered to play a house show, and it like went for $4,000. It was crazy town. It was like, okay.
But what Rick's saying is totally true. There's something about the way that they did it, and Rick worked them a lot, so he got to see.
I didn't
go to
That's right.
But there's something about the way that they did it. They made it so fun to be a part of.
Yes, yeah.
And that's the thing. Like now, like I have some people say, like, I go to the auctions, but it's like it's just not as funny. And like people would always laugh. Your dad got 100,000 out of me. Like the way that he did it, he made you feel like you wanted to give the money.
Yep. I can totally
it wasn't like he was coming over and grabbing you by the collar. You better.
He never jumped off stage and got in your face like a lot of auctioneers do.
Yeah, like a lot of auctioneers now, they run very aggressive. It's really aggressive. He had kind of this classy, like you said, Vegas.
Yeah.
Very fun.
He looked good.
Humorous.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
I think both of you.
Yeah, and also getting back to Chris and I having stamina.
Yeah.
He had incredible stamina where he could do 80 items or more.
Right.
Non-stop. A lot of auctioneers, they start breaking down a sweat within 5 items. He could just do. I mean, I'd be on stage going, "How many more do we have?" And he's just like, rolling. So he had that incredible stamina, and the audience would feel that. They go, "Okay, well, let's keep going." And
right.
Well, it's true. Like now, you go to a lot of events. They have 3 different auctioneers
to do what my dad by himself.
Yeah. Well, you and I will be working on one on the 3rd, right? For Mike Squires.
It's not an auction, but it's a charity event.
Charity, right. So I can't wait to assist. He's going to make me get really tired.
Yes, good.
And I just did an auction last night and for a school and did the race paddle, and I mentioned that my dad made it up and told the story,
right.
And then the goal was 15,000, and we hit 15,000 within the first 2 sections of the race paddle. And like I said, "This is for you, Dad." I thought of it right away.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's going, and I think we raised about 25,000 just in that one section. Their goal was 15,000. So
your family has such a good legacy. I don't know, just between all of you, just everybody in your family.
Absolutely,
it's such a great.
It's just doing it and not talking about it. Again, like I said with your music, it's just my dad would do it.
Yes.
Our dad would just do it. He would say, "You know what? Then you guys should do it too." He would just do it.
Yeah, that's great intuition, though. I think you guys all have great intuition, and you're.
But that's also just that's our experience. I mean, everybody, has their family, and everybody grieves in different ways.
Yeah.
Like you could lose a parent that did amazing things that they did in that world. So it's like. This is just the experience that we had. Everybody has their own.
But I think the common core things are, like you said, when it happens and everybody wants to talk about it or how you feel or how you process. I think I have found as I even get on Facebook or whatever, like people are going through the same common things. And frankly, what frightens me is I don't feel that old, but I'm 48, I'll say, and people are passing.
Yes.
I had a friend from Richland who just passed, and I was like, people are starting to pass. And I understand, that helps me understand I'm not the only one. I'm obviously not the only one in the world ever going through grief, but it's nice to connect with people to say, "How are you doing? How's that going?"
But this is also why you have to enjoy yourself while you're here.
Absolutely.
You have to find
and you do that amazing
something every day, whether it's like I'll look at a flower or our dogs or my wife or the sky. You have to find something within the day that's gonna go, "That's amazing. That's wonderful." And
I will
really
say,
focus on that.
That's really. I mean, there's not many positives that you draw from that situation, but I will say it does make you really, really, really value the people that you love that are close to you. It kind of makes you adjust the things that you desire, and some of that stuff becomes sort of frivolous because you realize the important stuff is this connection you have with your wife or your family or your friends, and it's true when that stuff happens and it's so close to you, it does really put your mortality in your face, and you realize that this stuff is happening. It's just a part of the life process and stuff. So it kind of it sort of shakes you to your soul. And Kim's mom had passed away a couple years before, so I had kind of a front row seat to what that was all about, and sort of the grieving process that she went to, where you're kind of in a fog for like a year because you're sort of dealing with yourself, but you're also dealing with the living parent, and you're also dealing with other people that are around, and you're sort of on an adrenaline from it. You're sort of shaking.
In a weird way. Yeah.
So what happens is, like, once that year is over, then the reality kicks in, and that's for me, like, that's when the sadness comes in.
Yeah.
Because you're sort of like on a big adrenaline, and there's so many pieces to put together. Like with us, we had to help our mom move out of the house, and there were some things that like.
And I was getting married at that time.
Yeah, Rick was getting married.
Yeah,
there's all these little buttons that keep you busy.
Yeah.
But once everything sort of falls down and you get back into the mundane, you're like, okay, now I'm just here and he's gone.
I feel like that's what's happening to me now.
Yes.
I'm like, oh.
And you know what you should do?
Yeah.
Embrace it 100%.
Right.
Everybody agrees different, but just like don't fight it. Just embrace it, because everybody loses a parent, but there's no wrong way, there's no right way. I mean, even Rick and I, as close as brothers, we grieve differently.
Right.
Totally
We talked about that.
I had to see a therapist for quite a while, and because I was just couldn't say my dad's name without crying.
Yeah.
And so the best thing she taught me was basically, instead of viewing all this with sadness, think about your dad with happiness and the good things, that all things you love about
Absolutely,
it.
yeah.
Instead of viewing it as this great tragedy, view it, be thankful that it happened, and be thankful that you had this life with him, and project all the positive thoughts in him. So that's kind of what I do. And there's still times when I cry. Occasionally, something like, I'll see a Happy Father's Day card, or something, or you just in the car and you just think about it and you start crying, and I'll call Anna on the phone, I'm crying. But most of the time, what I learned from her was just to project those good thoughts onto him, that rather than just constantly be grieving that he's gone and how horrible, know. So she really taught me a lot, but I needed to go to therapy because I wasn't really able to function when he was gone. I was having a hard time just sort of getting through my day at work and not crying. I was crying all the time, and so because I think I was projecting so much sadness into it, and so
you just had to grieve.
But being with a therapist who didn't know my dad, never heard of him, didn't know about the Friels, and she was from England, no idea who we were. So it was really great to kind of go. I was thinking, what do you mean you don't know who I am or my dad is? But then she was really helpful, and she taught me that, and I kind of was able to heal and move on.
When you're also dealing with you're just dealing with emotions that you're so unfamiliar with. I mean, for me, again, being a Virgo, I'm kind of a routine person, and everything's kind of moves along and stuff, and then you just put in this just fucking tornado into your life.
Yes. So, I can't imagine for you.
So
what? Christine's order.
No, that's true,
and it was so out of order.
This is out of order.
Out of order.
And so
I've seen you when your dogs have passed. So I'm like, I can't imagine.
Absolutely.
Okay,
So it just sort of like, I think that I just kind of felt like I was in a fog, and but again, it's just like you just have to, and it's sort of what Rick's saying too, is you just sort of have to allow it.
Yes.
If you're just sort of like trying to hold it back, and just sort of like, it's not so much denial, but it's more just like, I can't even take this on.
Right.
Well,
what?
If I just push this down here and I'll just get to this, if you just let it all in and just let it out. And I'm with Rick too. I mean, there'll be times when like just the weirdest thing you'll just suddenly cry.
Right. Yes.
I'm not really a crier. I'm not a crier.
Sir.
But,
I'm with you.
But when it happens, I let it out and I start crying. I don't fight any.
I do too.
I used to cry at work a lot in front of my bosses, my coworkers, and but they knew what I was going through, so it's okay.
Yeah. Or you have weird, for me, just like you would have kind of weird anger things that weren't there before.
Oh yeah.
And you're sort of like, what is this about? And you're sort of like, oh yeah, my dad died.
Yeah, hi. The small thing. You know what's interesting is that I absolutely understand that, and it's weird going to work or new jobs and being sort of like, no, you don't talk about it.
I just got to add one other piece, but I remember there was something had done some painting at a house, and I remember I just kind of fucked up a couple things, and I remember getting this text from my boss that said, he said, you did this, and he wrote back, we were going back and he said things saying, what's going on with you lately? And I'm kind of like, it was so enormous, the question.
Yeah.
And it was really funny coming from him, because we're actually pretty close. And he had lost his dad sort of recently too, and it took all my strength not to write back saying, hey asshole, you know exactly what's going on with me, and let's say I missed this little tiny thing I did. It's pretty small from what I'm.
My dad's dead, fucker.
I'm keeping my shit together. But I remember that just like I was like just trembling.
But how hard is it to go like have a parent die and then go back to like your job? Like I was working at Target, like just corporate, right? And like in a whole other city away from where my mom died, I went back and it was like 3 weeks later, like back in the corporate office. Just like, hi.
Well, sometimes it's a relief, though. Sometimes it's so horrible that you want something normal that you can project yourself.
Well, what was hard for me was that, there's some of that.
Kind of something about like
some structure.
Your job is that you know what you're doing.
There's something kind of sweet about that.
Rather than just sitting around waiting.
Totally.
To what do I do now? So sometimes you throw yourself back into work.
I just felt weird because I was in Minneapolis. Not my home, which I loved. Great cocoon place for us. But I went back to a desk where Mom would call me every day.
Yeah,
like
I
the phone's
understand that.
sitting right there.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, I'm working on these digital projects. So I'm like, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
You know, like, you're taking so long. This is stupid. Nobody's curing cancer. But I'm professional. I never said any of that. You know, like, I would go to these meetings, but I also was like physically having panic and dizzy and weird. And I finally, they were extremely wonderful to me. I went to my boss and I was like, I'm going to take short-term disability. I got to get out of here. She's like, do it. Like, it's fine. I'm like, I'm taking 8 weeks. I'm out of here. I'll be back. I'll be on this. She's like, perfectly fine. She goes, I don't even understand how you're here in the first place. And I was like, thank you.
I've got a unique situation where the owner of my company is a guy I've known for a long time, Mike McConnell, and we were friends before Cafe Media existed. So he's just like, as much time as you want.
Right, yeah.
This other guy, Tom Buckley, used to work there. I knew him for the auctions, and he was kind of the co-owner at the time, and he'd hug me and whatever you need. And so my work basically was just anything.
They're great to you. They've always been great to you.
They've always been great. I've been there 13 years.
Cafe Vito.
I love my work. But, I was lucky in that sense. But I have to say, sometimes you want to go back to work and just throw yourself into something normal and just like, I need a routine of, where do I need to go today with this coffee? Let me tell you, give me something to do. Just take my mind off it.
I mean, for me, like, I needed it. I needed the routine. I also remember, like, that was around the time when I just had started playing with Sweetwater, and we had a show, and it was like, they were like, hey, we can cancel the show. It was like in Bellingham. So it's no big deal. And I said, no, I want to play this. And it was actually the very first show I ever played with them.
Wow.
And
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember, like, those guys are hilarious. So it was like great to
really
be around those guys.
Yeah.
But it was also just great to play because our dad was such a supporter of our music. Like, I remember playing that show and thinking about him, going, well, he'd be this is what he would want me to do.
Yeah,
he wouldn't want us to be like sitting on my hands and crying.
My mom would be so fucking proud of this podcast. She'd be like, oh my, something she would never do.
Absolutely.
Like, I know every moment she'd be like, I'm so proud of you. Like, you got your ass back to Seattle.
But I keep coming back to the same thing. I mean, I think it's a part of life, and everybody handles it differently. There's no wrong.
There's no wrong way to grieve.
There's some people that grieve for years and years and years, and they just get totally depressed and then they pull themselves out. Some people are quick. Some people bury it under the sand. They deal with it years and years later. Some people turn to chemicals and all those kind of things, which is not the right thing to do. But I think sometimes the way we are as humans is like you feel like you just got to fix it quickly and get on board.
Right.
It's just not the way.
It's not the way it works.
That's not the way it really works. I mean, maybe for some people.
Right.
But I know for myself, that's not.
Any kind of numbing of it's only going to prolong it. I think that's unfortunate. But the thing I think about grief is that at some point I had said this to Marty earlier. I'm like, this is so long. This is I'm so tired of crying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so tired of crying, and to this day, I'm like, I have a burden. I don't, and I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm like, I do have a bit of a burden.
Yes. I was more nudged by Anna. Anna was just, seeing me on the floor of our bedroom just crying or just so sad. And she's like, you need to talk to somebody. Yeah. Because you can't just talk to me about it, and you need to find somebody. And so luckily I knew somebody who knew a therapist.
Which is a good thing. I mean,
So she kind of gave me
that was good of her because she knows you well enough to know that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to get her on this podcast, don't you worry.
I wish you luck.
I know. I'm coming to your house and she's going to bake a pie. That's all I'm
luck.
Ryan, we're going to get pie out of this, don't we?
Best of luck.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to end this little thing. This is why I'm back. This is why I'm happy about every decision I've made in my life. This is exactly what I've always wanted in my life. I love you both so much.
I love you too.
I'm happy to be here, and this art form is what excites me, and so I thank you for being a part of the first one. Thank you, Friel Brothers.
Well, I want to say I love you as a friend, but I also love playing music with you, and I hope we can do more of that soon.
Oh, I'm calling your ass. Yeah. I have a project, Chris Friel.
What I love about you is that since I've known you, you've always been on a quest. Like, you're always trying to make yourself better, and maybe through religion and books, and then you have stuff, and then you get rid of it and throw it away, and then you change your hair color, or you change your look, I love that. I admire that about you, that you're always on a quest.
Thanks.
I think that's beautiful. I think it's great that you are who you are.
Well, my mom said, through a psychic, yes, I said that, she said, Carrie, live life. So I'm going to quest for that.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
All right.
And thank you for sitting here for a long time.
Very long time.
Normally I'm very talkative, so it's being the quiet guy. So.
And we're almost done with our bottle of wine.
And another thing.
It's just a sip left, and we're gonna wish all your listeners well, and just
I'll toast my ginger.
Just say
Cheers.
love everybody. Cheers. That's my message. So.
It's very nice.
Get out and live the life that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Well, none of it
That was only 4 hours, right?